Yo, 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 we're getting this thing going. I need to add a couple things. Let's add a couple things first before I get it. He loves that. That's a weird ass setup. My God, no. No way. I remember you messing up a bunch of times, and I think that people said that and you didn't listen to them. Now you're saying you messed up. All right, that should be enough.
This is the actual concert and posting TikTok $10 on its first day at AMC alone, and totaling $37 million in first day pre-sale across other theater chains. Y'all, it beat Spider-Man No Way Home. Y'all, she beat Star Wars The Force Awakens. And so theaters are already expected to be crowded, but the people attending are also planning on being loud, essentially acting as if this is the actual concert and posting TikTok saying things like,
"We are treating this movie like it is the Eras Tour. That means we need costumes, dressing up, dresses, glitter,
No way.
sequins, the whole shebang.
No,
we
no,
are screaming
no,
the comfort and screaming the delicate chant and screaming all lyrics."
Tons of people not only saying that they plan on screaming, but they also expect others to do the
No.
same. Arguing that it's not a normal movie, that it's a
No.
experience, that's the way it should be treated. Others saying if you feel compelled to stand up, you can do it. Taylor Swift herself saying in the Instagram caption announcing the movie, Era's attire, friendship bracelets, singing, and dancing encouraged. But on the other side of this, you have a lot of people just wishing she left that part out, arguing that by giving her fans that inch, it's clear they plan on taking a line. And some concerned things that get so rowdy and so loud it's going to turn this thing into a negative experience. Whether it be for people going to those shows that maybe want more of a laid-back experience, or probably more likely, people in neighboring theaters. So some have called her out saying, I say this as someone who loves Taylor Swift. She should be in jail for encouraging fans to sing and dance in a movie theater. Absolutely the fuck not. You've got people who work at theaters saying things like,
please, dear God, do not treat this like the stadium tour. Movie theater soundproofing only goes so far. If you piss off the theater next to you, if you piss off the people sitting next to you, we, as the movie theater employees, are going to be the ones that have to handle the complaints. We are going to be the ones that have to get yelled at. This is a concert movie in a movie theater. You still have to follow theater etiquette, at least a little bit.
Or with others arguing the rules are made by the theater, not Taylor's Instagram post. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm just going to get my popcorn. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. Because it's either going to be this like really fun, we're all together having a great time thing, or an absolute shit show. And transparently, either way, that sounds interesting to me. But I got to pass the question on to you. What are your thoughts? And then go, aliens are invading our planet, but they're not coming from UFOs. They're coming from the bottom of your shoe. Right? If you've ever gone hiking, you sometimes come back to find sticky seeds clinging to your boots, boots, clothing, car, dog, and those are often invasive plans using you to get from point A to point B. And after they plop down into a new area, they're done. Today we're talking about why people are
What the fuck? Why is YouTube
Long
so
weekend.
broken?
You're formal for plans, your dog, fading or together having a great time. Doing the rules are made by the theater, not Taylor's Instagram post. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm just gonna get my popcorn. I cannot wait to see how this plays out. Because it's really fun.
Yeah, I'm not going. I'm not going to the theater. I will not be any part of this thing.
Transparently, either way, that sounds entertaining.
I
to
will
me.
watch
But I
to
gotta
see
ask a
what the
question on you. What are your
catastrophe
thoughts?
happens.
And then, aliens are invading our planet, but they're not coming from UFOs. They are coming from the bottom of your shoe. Right? If you've ever gone hiking, you sometimes come back to find sticky seeds clinging to your boots, clothing, car, even your dog, and those are often invasive alien plants using you to get from point A to point B. And after they plop down into a new area, they grow into plants that crowd out on their flora and disrupt the ecosystem. And while it's completely normal for plants and animals to move around, it certainly isn't normal for them to do it as quickly as they have been and to leap across oceans and mountains. But thanks to humans hopping into cars, going on boats, flying in tubes in the sky, this has absolutely exploded. With an absolutely exhaustive UN report finding that over the past few centuries, we've introduced at least 37,000 species to places outside their natural habitat. And over 3,500 of those are considered invasive since they're harmful.
No shit, probably more than
One of the
that.
most wild things is how this has impacted the economy, with it estimated that $423 billion is lost every year in the global economy. That number at least quadrupling every day.
It's lost in some areas, and then the people who provide pesticides and all the controls make more money.
60% of reported extinctions of plants and animals. And most often, this is
Imagine
happening
that.
unintentionally with species hitching a ride on our transport networks, like plane, train, boat, or car. The most famous and most widespread example being the black rat, which actually came over from India. That's everywhere from the largest cities to the most far-flung islands.
You
And those
fucking
motherfuckers
rat.
shoot through power lines as eagerly as they devour ground
Look at
nesting
that fucking
seabirds.
chicken.
Even the fish can feel the impact of its destruction as it alters the flow of nutrients into the ocean. Or to use a more recent example, we got the Maui wildfires. Those were spurred on by invasive vegetation from Africa that's used to much different fire cycles, where it burns, grows back, and then burns again very frequently. And that's not a unique thing. Invasive grasses have helped fuel wildfires in other places like Chile, Australia, the western U.S. as well. Notably, species
That's
invasion isn't
disrespectful.
always an accident. Sometimes we do it on purpose. Well, if you work like with chickens or potatoes, which have effectively been domesticated and pose very little threat, other times we bring the species in, hoping that it will provide benefits, then it spreads out of control and wreaks havoc. For example, Europe's been dealing with the American mink since the 1920s, with people initially importing it for furs, but then it escaped and now pretty much eats anything that gets its grubby little hands on. But with or without our help, invasive species are also spreading due to climate change. The change in temperatures pushing them out of their native habitat by the equator and toward the pole, which is why you're seeing less sharks off the coast of Florida and more of them as far north as Long Island. But I understand shark attacks are the least of our worries when it comes to species.
No one needs to
But the
hear
more
that.
concerning thing is how it breaks down ecosystems, which threatens things that we depend on, like fisheries, croplands, rainfall patterns, and drinking water. With that then contributing to the biodiversity crisis we talked about in the past, that threatens human civilization as a whole. So we have this troubling cycle, and as far as the governments of the world,
More like
they're aware.
Shape
In fact, last September,
300,
nearly every
dude.
country in the
Go
world
lose some weight.
aiming to act at the rate of invasive species spread by 2030. But as we often see, whether it be a private company or a government, having goals doesn't also mean that they actually they're actually met. Which I guess also hits on the fact and the hard truth that the worst invasive species on the planet may be us. And then, in more shit to get scared about news, let's talk about a fun little flesh-eating bacteria. With the CDC now having issued a health alert warning doctors about this rare bacteria, which has a totally unpronounceable Latin name, and this after growing reports of infections near the Gulf of Mexico and East Coast. And health officials have reported 13 deaths caused by the bacteria this year, including 1 in New York, 2 in Connecticut, 3 in North Carolina, and 7 in Florida. The CDC explaining that the bacteria lives in coastal waters and is mostly transmitted by eating raw or undercooked shellfish, particularly oysters. Though, in some cases, it can be caused by an open wound coming in contact with infested waters or even undercooked seafood. And very notably here, the agency also warned that the bacteria thrive in warmer waters, especially during the summer months. And adding extreme weather events such as coastal floods, hurricanes, and storm surges can force coastal waters into inland areas, putting people that are exposed to these waters at increased risk, which of course is significant given the flooding and storm surges we've seen across the eastern seaboard from last week's hurricane. So know this, be safe, but also understand you're more likely to probably get hit by a car. And then, is Spotify dying? And what they did with Alex Cooper and Joe Rogan, is that putting the knife in their heart? That is something that's being debated right now, as podcasting hasn't made the company any money so far. And compared to their competitors, Spotify has the most to lose here. Spotify has very publicly spent over $1 billion building its podcasting empire, funneling money into
Got him for 70?
big name, building studios. With Spotify back in 2018, setting its sights on becoming.
He probably should not have shot me through that, huh?
Spike in demand in Germany. We've seen them sign huge, high-dollar exclusive deals with Alex Cooper and Joe Rogan. But their deals also went outside of just big names.
It made me realize I could shoot through that.
Celebrities like Kim Kardashian. well, signing an exclusive contract with him back in 2020 for her original podcast, Kim Kardashian's The System, which she discussed criminal justice reform, with the first episode airing in October of 2022, 2 years after signing the deal with Spotify and quickly hitting #1 on the chart. Also, Dawn Ostroff, formerly in charge of building Spotify's podcast empire, signing a multi-million-dollar deal with the Obama's production company, which had made 5 podcasts with Spotify, but also signed a deal with Amazon Audible last year. Ostroff also locking down Meghan Markle for an exclusive deal, with her show Archetype debuting last year at the top of the chart, but then failing to sustain a large audience and not getting renewed for another season. And while those pricey deals were very, very expensive, notably, they were only part of Spotify's spending in the podcast space. And the company also spent over $200 million on building 2 podcasting studios. They spent hundreds of thousands per episode to try and lure in new listeners. And these investments have yet to turn a profit, with the company reporting over $500 million in losses in the first 6 months of this year alone. And notably, this is podcasting currently only represents a tiny fraction of the massive $200 billion digital advertising marketplace. With Evan Shapiro, a media consultant and producer, saying, the size of the bet up against the size of the market just seems irrational in retrospect. They're out of runway. But notably, Spotify says they're actually on track to make podcasts profitable by next year, saying they had 100 million podcast listeners on their platform in June, which is 10 times more than they had in 2019. And understand, they are under some serious pressure from investors to keep that promise. So we've seen the company making some changes. Like back in June, the company laid off over 200 employees.
He dropped off.
Focused more on their limited and exclusive content. They did away with their 2 podcast brands, Gimlet and Parcast, consolidating them into Spotify Studios.
Yo, breather, what's going on?
Podcasters, which are shows that have ambient noise rather than people talking, moving those from the Ambassador Ads program, which is where Spotify pays hosts to read ads, encouraging listeners to join the platform and make shows themselves. We've also seen Spotify sharing some of the risk with their creator. Like in a recent deal with Trevor Noah, Spotify agreed to pay him $4 million, and the company can then collect revenue from the podcast to cover the investment. And after they're made whole, both Trevor and Spotify will split the profit. And there, according to executives, Spotify plans on pursuing similar deals in the near future, which immediately makes me wonder about their future. Like if you look at the Joe Rogan and Alex Cooper deals, what happens when those are up? Right? Because they're sweethearts, do their deals stay close to what they were, and like obviously the number would change? Or are they going to try and sell them on what is essentially an advance? Which, hey, we're in speculation-ville here, but I don't imagine they would take. I mean, just looking at Rogan, other platforms have offered him crazy amounts of money to move his podcast. And he has a show that has proven its audience will follow him. But as far as how it's going to play out, only time can tell. And then, for any of you focused on getting your business off the ground, creating a place to share your homemade goods, or even a personal blog, I got a great solution for you. And it comes from the fantastic sponsor of today's show, Squarespace. I've been partnering with Squarespace for years now, and I have to say, it is just so easy. There's nothing to install, patch, or update ever. Creating a beautiful website with Squarespace's Fluid Engine is so easy. You just drag things where you like, no coding necessary. And if you need a starting point, Squarespace has a bunch of great professional templates. Hell, you can even sell custom merch easily. And Squarespace handles all the production and
Did you take that sniper stuff?
You get access to all their marketing tools and analytics and their award-winning customer care team via email or live chat 24/7. So go check it out, see why so many others love it, see why you're gonna love it. Start your free trial today over at squarespace.com/Phil. When you realize it's for you, just make sure you enter an offer code Phil to get 10% off your first purchase. And then, Russia may have just made a major diplomatic mistake with a long-standing ally after the Cuban government announced that it had actually uncovered a large human trafficking ring to get its citizens to fight in Ukraine. With the Cuban government saying in a statement,
reach out and touch faith.
On the neutralization and dismantling of human trafficking network that operates from Russia to incorporate Cuban citizens living there and even some from Cuba into the military forces participating in war operations in Ukraine. And overall, they do not seem happy with this turn of events, with Cuban authorities added. Cuba is acting and will act energetically against anyone who participates in any form of human trafficking for the purpose of recruitment of Cuban citizens as mercenaries to use arms against any country. Now, notably, this is not the first time that we've heard of Cubans fighting for Russia in this war. But in those cases, it didn't seem like there was a network to force them in to do it. We also right now don't know exactly how far the government has gone to dismantle this network, but the fact that they are publicly calling this out is especially interesting because on top of Russia being a major ally for them,
are they in there with you?
Precedent for Cubans to be sent abroad to fight in the then Soviet Union's proxy war. So notably, this time there are some key differences. First off, in those wars, Cuba was...
Are they across, or are they in there with you?
This time, noting feel like many nations do, that Russia's just being predatory and trying to take advantage of desperate citizens, where they're offering like $2,000 a month to foreign fighters on top of the possibility of citizenship, which for many Cubans could be an amazing combination, with reportedly doctors there maybe not even making $2,000 a year, and there's always people desperate to leave. And so for being real, like if you take the morality out of Russia's bullshit war and you go like, hey, I'm desperate, it's easy to see why a Cuban citizen might take that deal. But I guess also why the Cuban government would find it such a massive insult that its citizens were considered so cheap to recruit. And then, political news, we are now staring down the barrel of the shotgun that is a potential government shutdown and the impeachment trial of Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton.
You need my Healy man? You need my Healy bot thingy?
majority of Republicans in the GOP-controlled House voted to impeach him on 20 counts, including bribery, abuse of public trust, dereliction of duty, and more. And the trial, which will take place in the Texas State Senate, focuses on 16 of those articles, which Paxton has denied. And as far as what's going to happen, we should know relatively soon, with reports saying that this trial is set to last.
You just want to get to the circle, or what do you want to do there, fella?
24 hours each to present evidence and witnesses. And notably, if Paxton is convicted of just one of the impeachment articles,
Come on, Jerome, where are we going?
for that to happen, his removal will need to be supported by 2/3 of the state Senate, which is made up of 19 Republicans and 12 Democrats. What's also interesting is the senators could also vote to prevent him from running for elected office again. And a really key thing is that we actually got some indication on how these senators might vote as the trial was underway today. And that's because we saw the senators striking down a series of pretrial motions from Paxton's team to dismiss the case. It's all about one of those motions failing by a vote of more than 2/3. Places like the New York Times explained it. Unsuccessful maneuvering provided early hints into how the trial might take shape. Mr. Paxton appeared to have the support of at least 6 senators, but a solid majority of Republicans do not appear to view the trial as a sham, as some of his supporters have told them. Beyond that, we also know for sure that one senator won't be allowed to vote. Paxton's wife, with the rule set earlier this year saying she will be counted as present but barred from voting or deliberations. So we're going to have to see what happens there, especially because it's going to have massive implications. But to then hop from a state story to a nationwide story, we got the government shutdown, where the Senate officially returned today, and they're faced with a massive mounting deadline. Burning the total government shutdown that will happen if Congress doesn't agree to a spending bill to fund the government by September 30th. Meanwhile, the House of Representatives is still on vacation for a whole other week, which key then means that they will have just 11 legislative days to hammer out an agreement to keep the government from shutting down, which for some things sounds like a lot of time. But for this, not really that much, especially as Congress is so divided on how to deal with this. Right? Specifically, a key issue here is that the House GOP has put forward budget bills that will include spending cuts that would go against an existing agreement Speaker Kevin McCarthy made with Biden during the battle to raise the debt ceiling. That coming after pressure from the far-right Freedom Caucus, which was super angry with McCarthy for making that deal with Biden, even though the U.S. was literally about to default on its debt. Those proposed spending cuts obviously aren't going to fly with the Democratic-held Senate. So the shutdown deadline inching closer and closer, congressional leaders on both sides have agreed that there is no way they're going to fully hatch out a budget. So instead, they're focusing on passing a short-term measure called a continuing resolution that'll keep the government funded through as long as December while a more long-term deal is hatched out. Now, notably here, passing a continuing resolution, that wouldn't be a weird thing. Right? Congress constantly puts on short-term band-aids. But despite the fact this is literally just an extension to keep the government open so Congress can figure out how to fund itself, the Freedom Caucus is once again fucking things up. But last month, the group putting out a statement saying they will refuse to even support a short-term funding bill unless their demands are met. Those demands being that the continuing resolution include a GOP border security bill as well as measures that address the so-called weaponization of the DOJ and so-called woke policies at the Pentagon. But those demands are dead on arrival in the Senate. Because McCarthy doesn't have a majority in the House without the Freedom Caucus, it's basically assured he doesn't have to pass a funding bill with support from House Democrats. But then that move would likely create a whole new battle with the far-right faction of the party, a faction that notably has threatened to strip McCarthy of the speakership in the past. Meanwhile, you got McCarthy making the whole situation even more of a shit show by saying in recent weeks the House could start an impeachment inquiry into Biden as soon as it returns from summer break. So that move being largely seen as an attempt to appease the far-right members of the GOP, especially because some moderate Republicans have been wary of the move. So
I got your shells out of that thing. Two big ones.
If the government shut down, it's going to be so much harder to pursue an impeachment.
Two big ones. You taking them or no?
Backfire. Hardliners rejecting that argument, making it clear that an impeachment inquiry will be a top priority for them when the chamber returns next week. So now McCarthy is going to have to try to balance all of that. To make things even more complicated for McCarthy, all of this is happening as both of the two other top Republican leaders are dealing with health issues. House Majority Leader Steve Scalise saying last week that he was diagnosed with blood cancer, and Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell, of course, facing tons of questions and concerns after he froze up at press conferences last week, and there being extra scrutiny over McConnell's ability to lead the party. So yeah, you know, it's government, it's Congress, it's a mess, it's always a mess, but this is a super special mess. And then finally, in a new segment that needs a name, so please help me in the comments, I want to take a quick look and talk about the reactions to news stories yesterday. Because regarding Mr. Beast, a lot of the conversation wasn't actually about the NFT scandal or Creator League. Instead, it was
Big pink shield. Big pink shield.
Decepticon. Well, there were a lot of different takeaways. One of the most core things was this was an example of why a lot of people hate the internet. People feeling like social media has become less about being social and almost using it more as a weapon or a way to get pitchforks out. Because that whole situation started because Jack said he doesn't like Mr. Beast's content, which is why we had many of y'all saying things like YouTubers cannot even have an opinion without people being up in arms. I'm kind of glad Jack feels he can speak his mind. People always talk about how we all have hot takes, and then when one comes up, people act so outraged. I don't 100% agree with Jack, but I 100% defend his right to have a say on a platform he's been on for so long. And a number of people taking that Mr. Beast ruined YouTube comment as Mr. Beast didn't ruin YouTube. Personally, he just perfectly represents the most exhausting aspects of what YouTube became. And I work as a video editor, and I will say it is happening more and more often recently that I get client notes that essentially translate to make it like like Mr. Beast. I'm always being asked to emulate the editing style of his video. There's a pertinent point to be made that for many people, in order for your content to perform well, you just edit your videos like Mr. Beast. It's having an effect of homogenizing the platform. Now, the other thing a lot of people were commenting on was a story about pregnant women in America essentially being harassed and screwed over. A number of comments, which included a lot of people from the medical field just kind of thanking us for the coverage, but also reactions like, as a woman, even when you're not pregnant, women's healthcare is a nightmare. I don't know how many times I've heard, we don't know what that is. It just happens to some women, or just dodging questions in general. A number of people sharing theirs.
Do you guys want to move her out of here, or you want to stay here?
2011. I thought I was constantly talked down to in the sense of, we're the experts, just let us do our job. I was given drugs in my IV with no consent required and no information of what any of this was. My epidural broke during my labor, causing intense pain on one side of my body, and no one did anything about it, nor could I alleviate my own pain as I wasn't allowed to move around. And I was given a 2-hour window to push and was told if I didn't deliver in...
I'd like to get up, yeah, I'd like to get up there if we can, on top of this red shit. And then they're gonna come up to us, but we'll get the high ground before them.
But saying all in all, it's the borderline dehumanizing experience. And that was just one of so
maybe I can fight him off with my sniper.
Thank you to everyone that shared their experiences and their opinions, because I mean, I really feel like that's the other part of the actual human element, and that's something that can be experienced when you have a community like this. And if you want a deeper dive into the things we're talking about here, you can just look at that right there. I got links in the description. But that is where today's daily dive into the news is going to end. As always, thank you for being a part of this, being subscribed to the channel. Also, don't forget, snag yourself a bag or 3 at Wake and Make Coffee at wakeandmakecoffee.com. You can even get a bag or 3 at 50% off today. But as always, my name is Philip DeFranco. You've just been filled in. I love yo faces, and I'll see you tomorrow.
30 seconds. I'm taking fire. They're shooting at me.
I didn't see where you're shooting at.
They're in here.
10 till ring closes.
There's more down there.
Taking a moment to recharge my shields.
I'm out of cells.
Rings move in.
There's one squad on each side there. These guys are out of the circle. They're gonna have to move.
Mm-hmm.
They did move already. You didn't see them move? Right?
Oh, really?
Pretty sure they moved. That was like a wraith that jetted out of there.
Yeah, probably portals.
I'm gonna put that out there and try to bait someone.
We gotta move. I'm out of cells. I don't got an extra.
There's one in here.
Someone in here.
Got a closed door. Here's drone if you need it.
Whole team in here.
There's one on top. That one got me from on top.
One might push this way. He's outside on the roof.
Oh yeah, he got me on the left side of the room.
Rings close.
Coming in. There's see me.
I think there's 2 spots in. Yeah, they're fighting on either side of me.
Recharging my shields.
2 that way. Careful.
Sorry.
You're good.
Fuck me.
We have our Apex champion.
Oh, U.S. Senate race, Mr. Beast, blah, 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 blah. Watch it all.
In the last video I did of the Expanse themed PC gaming 3D printed mod doohickey, I talked about that we were going to do some airflow balancing and some temperature optimizations and stuff. So today that's what we're going to do, because I've got to find the balance between overpowering a single fan with 2 fans but making sure everything is cool. CableMod is proud to announce their new 90-degree 12-volt
However,
high-power
don't make them both
replacement
intakes. Make one
designed
an
to eliminate
exhaust.
tight bends on your GPU. The C-series cables
That's
feature
what you
standard
should
and
have done.
reverse 90-degree connectors right on your cable and terminate to standard PCIe plugs designed for your specific GPU. Available in most popular PSU styles, the C-series cables offer peace of mind with the highest warranty policy in the industry. To see the supported list of PSUs and full warranty policy, follow the sponsored link in the description below. Also, too, they are loading a truck out there with a forklift, so you might hear some banging and some beeping and stuff. It's not us. That's right. But moving on, if you have not seen the videos about building this system, technically it's modding this system. This is a pre-built Falcon Northwest Tiki PC, which is a very small form factor build. Go and watch those videos. There's 4 parts from beginning to end on that. Anyway, probably for about the last 15 or 20 minutes now with Speedway. This is a ray tracing title. We are loading up the GPU fully with ray tracing so that we make sure we get full heat. I also have the fans that are being controlled by iCUE right now set to balanced. Now here's the thing. When it comes to iCUE's kind of powerful in that we can use temperature sensors on the hub to control our temperatures, our speeds. We can use GPU, any sensor that iCUE sees, you can use as a trigger for controlling the fans, which is nice because if we set it to CPU load, and a game that you're playing doesn't really trigger the CPU a whole lot to increase temps, then these fans wouldn't ramp up to blow on the GPU, which is the whole point. Now these fans are blowing directly on the graphics card's fans, and then it's exhausting out the top and out the back and some of the holes on the other side. When it comes to the CPU, we have a single 120 radiator on an AIO on a 7800X3D. This is a 4080 ProArt, by the way, to get no. The 4080 ProArt comes in the Tiki. If you go with a 40 series high-end card, because it's the only one that will fit. 4090s are too big. But anyway, these initially had 15mm slim Silverstone fans on the insides of the case, and obviously I went with full-size, full-speed 120s on the outside of the case. And one of the things I noticed is if I have these 120s running too fast, obviously the 120 on the other side cannot overcome the amount of intake pressure these are creating, so we kind of get some turbulent static air. And we really do need the air to blow through the fan, through the radiator, and onto the motherboard, and obviously through the rad to cool it off. So anyway, what I'm doing right now is I'm just seeing what the fan sent to balanced in iCUE. So you can see they're running at about 1500 RPM, give or take, based on some of the resistances. Now, where you see here the QX RGB number 1 temp, 2 temp, and 3 temp, those are the temp sensors that are on the fans themselves. Now, those aren't going to be doing me a whole lot of good because of the fact that they're always going to be reading ambient air coming into the case, because right now they're all set as intakes. Now, if I was setting them as exhaust, and the air going through those sensors was reading the warm air that's coming out of the case, then I could just use the sensors on the fans to speed up and slow down. Those don't do me any good in this particular configuration. Now, one of the things I want to test is flipping the fan on the AIO to an exhaust fan, increasing the speed on these fans,
Is
and
this
then getting some
competitive?
cross flow across the system and out that AIO. Now the problem is they'll be picking up warmth from the GPU, so we might be increasing flow, but also increasing the airflow temperature, or the temperature of the air going through it, which could have a negative effect for what we're trying to do. So we just have to see how much the GPU temperatures heating up that air are going to affect the amount of thermal saturation that's going to be happening with the air as we cross through. Now anyway, temperatures right now are actually great on the GPU. We're sitting at 64 C on the GPU temp, and the hotspot's at 74 C. So 10 degrees difference on the hotspot and the normal temp, we're doing pretty good at 63 and 70. And that's with these sitting here at Now, I did run a test already, which is this custom, literally says custom 1, which is nothing more than a 100% fan speed, and I've already done that on the GPU intakes, and you'll notice that the RPMs are going to start climbing right here. 2350 or so. If they're 2500 RPM fans, the speed could be affected by the amount of resistance, which would slow down the blades. But anyway, when I ran them at this temp for quite a while, the GPU temperature only came down to 61, and the hottest I've seen it go is about 67 when they were on quiet. But what I noticed is when they were on quiet, is the amount of the temperature coming out of the case was obviously warmer. So although the GPU temperature only went up a few degrees, I feel like the air coming out of the case,
Are you in a
the heat
fight?
saturation was a lot warmer. So I want to find a balance where I can keep the temperatures inside the chassis as a whole as low as possible, because there's other components to consider, not just the GPU, but there's obviously the motherboard has stuff on it. We got memory, we've got our SSD, we got things we got to keep cool in there, so we can't just worry about two sensors, which is CPU and GPU, and call it a day. But for acoustic reasons, we don't want to be running. So I think I'm actually pretty comfortable right now with locking these at about, well, where was it? It was at 1400 RPM or something. So 60% fan speed. And for me to really test what's happening and the effect, I'm going to have to use lock RPM. But then what I can do is when I figure out where my max RPMs need to be, I can then set my curves to use those as their max. So I'll set curves at the end based on where my fixed percentages end up landing. Okay, so as you can see now, I've got my my vane probe sitting on top of the exhaust. You can see the blades moving. So there's your proof that there's airflow coming through there. And our temperature right now exiting the case, we need to wait for it to finish climbing. It's going to take a little bit of time for it to finish its reading, but as you can see, you know, it's warming up. So we got to see where that stops moving before we can do anything. All right, so our exhaust temp right now, ignore the CFM. This is kind of an arbitrary number because there's no formula calculation inputted into the meter. So airflow, we can just see go up or down, right? But our temperature here is 35.7 C. It'll probably balance out right around 36. It is really starting to slow down now how long it takes to gain 1/10 of a C. For those of you that want to know what that is in Fahrenheit, that is 96.4 degrees Fahrenheit. So not terrible, really not that bad. But if I go ahead now and let's just go fixed RPM then. Let me put this now at 1500 RPM, just a little bit of a change. Now, I don't think we're going to see any temperature changes, to be honest, with that FAM RPM. The reason being, the GPU temperature has not changed. The GPU, though, to be honest, this isn't the thing I'm most concerned with. It's the CPU. These temperatures are good. I just have to find, if I'm going to leave the 120 AIO as an intake fan, I've got to find the balanced RPM with this guy to not overpower it. So I think I'm going to leave this where it is. We're at 36.0 and then .1.0, so it's starting to come down the other way, which is fine. So I'm going to leave those at a fixed 1600 RPM. Again, they're not that loud. I have to get like my ear like right up to it to really hear them, and I know like another 700 RPM available to them if I need it. So we've set our fan to fixed AIO intake, and let's just double check our, oh yeah, it's fixed, we don't care about the sensor. Good. Start running our multi-core, and let's keep an eye on our temperatures right here now. So package temp, 89C is our TJ max, 86, 87, 88.6, 89.1. So we have hit TJ max, but our frequencies haven't really suffered. I'll let first one down, 41.
Damn, I clicked this guy hard over here.
A little bit, because we're looking for high 47s. Oh, there we go. Into the 48. So check it out. We're just locked at 89.8. So we are hitting our thermal limit. Now, we haven't really lost a lot of clock speed, but we have lost some. It is fluctuating a little bit. Some of the cores are dropping down to 4.6. We went from a 17.466 or whatever down to a 17.760. Geez, whatever that noise is outside, it's terrible. I apologize for that. But as you can see, we are stuck at, there's 90. It's now exceeded 89. And now we're starting to see there's 4.598, 4.572. So we have now gone into we are going to end up throttling territory at that fixed RPM. Now, typically, when I would leave this set to balanced, if we check this out, you'll notice the fan is going to crank. If you look at the RPMs here, look, 1600, 1800, 1900, 2000, 21, 22, and even though I'm balanced, it went and maxed out because our CPU was like, hey, We need the cooling. So what I want to now see is if there's a way that I can keep the CPU from hitting that max temperature without having to go max RPM. And I think there's a couple ways I'm going to have to do that. So before we flip it around to an exhaust, let me go ahead now and add this 3D printed spacer, because this is not the most ideal grate right here. Like, this is blocking off quite a bit of airflow. I'm going to have to do this. It's kind of interesting how I do this, because these are holding the radiator. I think I can slide that. Actually, you know what? That's not proof right now. We need to run this test first. We need to see if I just take the grate out of the equation entirely, what happens to our temperatures. Let me clear the min-max. We haven't touched the red yet. 86. Same deal. And the RPMs are at max. But look at the RPM up. See how it came up to 2400 from the low 23s? That shows resistance. Now, I still think I need to, on the inside here, cut that honeycomb grill out, because that's also unnecessary resistance right in front of the radiator fans. So, you can now bet about 50% of the radiator grill is not getting direct airflow on. Ideally, I would probably want one of these on either side of the fan, because the farther we can get the fan away from the radiator fins, the better airflow we'll get through them, because there's a cushion of air in front. Our max temp we've hit so far in the package is 86.9. It's just the design that does great. And the thing is, this is just one piece. This is easy for me to reprint in a different style. And then we'll be fine. If it wasn't for the fact that it was just so obvious PC fan, I would just technically just kind of leave it like this, but I'm not happy with the way that looks. At the very least, what I can take away from this is that by having the grate out of the way or redesigned for better airflow will give me an improvement. But I now want to test the spacer. Take your working gaming experience to the next level with the ViewSonic XG340C 2K ultra-wide high-end display. The XG340C 2K 34-inch 100Hz ultra-wide monitor features HDMI 2.1, AMD FreeSync Premium Pro, 1000R curved screen, VESA display HDR 400 and 1 millisecond response time for the ultimate immersive gaming experience. And take control of multiple devices with KVM support while also taking full control of your display via the Elite Display Controller. To see the full list of specs and features, follow the sponsored link in the description. Okay, so a slight change of plans here. We're going to switch to exhaust on this fan, because with all the 3D printed panels and stuff, my 37mm screws are not long enough to allow me to put that spacer on. You see where I even tried to take some material out so the screw head could sit farther down in there. It's not. That was a no-go. So I'm going to have to source some longer screws if I want to try that method. But I think at least we can test exhaust right now and see if this is going to help. Because what this allows me to do now is intake fans contribute to the cooling making its way down to this thing. There'd still be plenty of cross flow amongst the stuff down in there. Now, one of the things I also want to try is I believe, just based on what I've been looking at when I put it back together, I might be able to go push-pull on this. And if I can go push-pull on this, then that might just give me, because if you look, you can see down in there, it looks to me like there's enough of a gap to be able to get 25 mil, another one of these fans in there. It's going to be tight, but this entire build is obviously high, bro. Flip this around to an exhaust. I'm now asking these fans to split air between up here and then coming down here, but I don't know. This wouldn't cause the pick, but we're doing something. We're measuring some sort of results. Remember, the only difference between science and fucking around is writing it down. We have hit 88.9 and we're at 87.9, 88.4, 88.3. So exhaust is probably not going to be a whole lot different. Although the air coming out is super fun. Our score is currently at a 17,410. So we've actually lost some score. But our frequencies are, well, yeah, they're down into the mids, 47, 70, 48, 47. I mean, we got the higher scores when it was up into mid 48s, 4800s, which obviously translated to, oh, there we go. Okay, so we're like stuck, whoa, never mind. We were like stuck at 88.8 for like a long time. Now we hit 89 again, and we can see our clocks drop all the way down to the high 50, 45 and 80s, and our score has definitely dropped down. 17,687. So it's worse. It's absolutely worse than when we had it intaking without the break.
Ready to go. Seen?
Where I grew up, everything wanted to kill me. This will be relaxing.
How much is closed off on the bottom? See that? So it looks good on that side. But now, you just hold that against the yellow, look at how restricted it is. Where you see yellow is where air can flow. So we're like at least 50% blocked, maybe even more. So yeah, he's going to make these louvers now straight so the air isn't having to turn. He's going to make the triangle less wide so they're more thin. I'm gonna see if I can fit a push-pull in there. I feel like if Falcon Northwest could have fit a 120, 25 mil on the inside, like standard size fan, they would have. Maybe they went with the 15 mil just for, I don't know, margin reasons. But I've tried to squeeze bigger things and tighter. Okay, you take that however you want, but I absolutely have. Yeah, that's not gonna work. It hits the tubes before it's even close, before it's even anywhere near closing. So it said, well, why don't you put the 15 mil on there? The problem is, if you don't put match fans and you have one fan moving significantly less air than another, then all that fan does is create resistance. It doesn't help in any way. So, all right. So I think what we figured out, we need to leave it as an intake, and we need to have a better flowing fan grill. So I guess what we'll have to do is when that fan grill is done, we'll put it all back to the way we started. When that fan grill is done, then we can plop it on and see what our temps do. Actually, I lied. There's one test I want to do real quick, which is to cut the grate material out inside. So I cut that.
You got a gun, buddy?
Honeycomb off. And I put the grill back on, as you can see. And our temps have not hit, and it's been running for a bit, our temps have not hit 89 yet. 87.4 was the max spike. It's at 86.1 right now. And our core clocks are staying much, much closer to 4,800 now. Clearly, there's some increased airflow now because it's not going through some restriction, right into another restriction, right through the rad, which is restriction. We're getting now closer to direct airflow on the blades or the fins. Remember how I said if we were to draw a pattern of that mesh material right on the radiator, and we were to hit with spray paint, if I pulled that off, you would see a pattern. And what does that also mean? That means everywhere there's not paint, as well as also not air going through. So we're now getting better at creating a situation where air would be able to go through. So once we get the new grill on here, I have a feeling we'll be pretty close to as if this were just open and outside of the chassis. So, and again, 86.5, 86.8. So we are now under the 89 Celsius, which is our TJ max. Now, there's too many things that I think could help us up to that. Ambient temp. It's also gotten warmer in this room since we started making this video. So that's one thing to keep in mind. As the ambient temp goes up, so will the core temperatures in an exact linear motion with the ambient temperature. So if the ambient temp goes up 2C, so will the device, because I'm not going to get into physics. It's exactly how it works. So I actually think this is pretty good, because the thing is, while we're doing gaming and stuff and such, we're never going to see temperatures get anywhere near that. In fact, immediately, and I do want the 120 going 100% AIO, or 100% fan speed, if it ever hits a load like this. I think that's a fair trade-off. That noise for a 240 on here would be ideal. And I already explained in the video why I didn't do a 240 on. I'm pleased with the performance we're getting. We are getting pretty much 99% of our advertising. Remember, you could take 10 7800 X3Ds in identical builds and get 10 different scores. It's just because there's variance in things that are happening in the system. So I'm okay with this, because like the second I turn off the test, our cores drop back down to the 30s. And if I run a synthetic benchmark or even any other games, it just goes up into about the 70s. And I've seen as high as 79 degrees while I was playing some games on this. Now, that was when we did our initial test, but it's never going to be anywhere. No game is ever going to hit the CPU like Cinebench does. So as long as I always say this, if I can get my temperatures under control in Cinebench, I'm fine with the temperatures for anything else the system may do. So I think what we'll do is we'll just throw a picture up to show what the new grill looks like, because I know right now people are probably going to be like, Jerry, you need to do another test with the new grill. We've really opened it up. It's really going to have very little effect, and it's going to be better than what we have on there right now. But we got to wrap this video up and keep going. So there you go. I'm pleased with the temperatures on this guy. The fact that I can feel cool air coming through here right now because of the fans blowing on the GPU. The GPU fans are no longer going to 0 RPM. I don't care if 0 RPM mode. I want them to be cool at all times. I can now feel cool air coming out these vents. So that means they're doing their job. Thanks for watching. That's it for the Expanse build. I think I'm done showing this one off. I need to start thinking about what my next theme is going to be. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you for the time portion of the video. This year is not going to be
Think about days ago, and we spent so long making that video. It had everything, but now
couple days passed, new rumors, new leaks, even some things that I don't think anybody saw coming. From mundane cable colors to some new hardware features that I think are going to be pretty cool. So there's only one thing left to do. Here's finally everything you need to know. Future John here. Man, I can't get ahead of anything. So since we made this video, the invites have actually gone out to the Apple event, which as expected is September 12th, where we'll see all the new iPhone 15 models.
We're in the middle of the ring.
I've yet to see my iPhone 14 final review. You know, my biggest issue with my Pro Max was battery health and battery life. And I am not alone. And Apple's got a history of messing up batteries. But at least for me and a lot of others, it's been bad. But with the iPhone 15 series, it seems Apple is going to do a few things that might make it better. And these rumors have been coming fast and furious. First, the overall battery size is going to get bigger. This isn't something that Apple does often. Having more battery physically generally leads to more battery life when in use. So right now the rumor is the iPhone 15 will be 18% bigger, the 15 Plus will be 13% bigger, the 15 Pro will be 14% bigger, and the 15 Pro Max will be 10% bigger. So across the board, the iPhone will be getting a pretty noticeable battery bump. And I doubt that extra battery life is for an inefficient A17 processor. I would assume the A17 is going to be even more power efficient. So fingers crossed with better battery life across the board. Aside from the actual battery, we also got new rumors and leaks about charging speed. So right now the iPhone charges dog slow compared to Android, but it tops out at 27 watts for the Pro models. A measly, borderline embarrassing 20 watts for the regular models. That, however, should be boosted to 35 watts, something we aren't sure about whether that's coming to every iPhone 15 model or just beyond the Pro versions. But either way, faster charging is finally coming. What I think we're all looking forward to, at least me, is the long-awaited demise of Lightning. If you actually remember, back in 2012, Phil Schiller got on stage and said this:
"This connector is a modern connector for the next decade."
And by my keen math, a decade has passed, and it's time for USB Type-C. USB Type-C is coming to the iPhone. It's coming to every iPhone 15 model, not just the Pro models. We just got leaked images, actually, of USB-C components, and these are legit. It seems the Pro model is actually going to be getting faster transfer speeds, actually Thunderbolt speeds, while the regular 15 will be the slower USB Type-2 speeds. Now, that might not sound that exciting to a lot of people, and USB 2.0 speeds, essentially the same speeds of Lightning in the past. So if I would say faster transfer speeds, I think legitimately probably are a Pro feature. You know, you have these phones that can shoot ProRes and ProRAW. Being able to transfer.
No, I don't want to go. Oh, you want to go down?
Tremendous. Even enabling possibly working off of your iPhone as external hard drive to be something that is helpful to a lot of people.
I don't know why this just happened, but that just happened.
Was apparently the new USB-C charging cable. That will come with the phone. This is real. Then we'll all get a Braden cable, which is color matched to the phone. Also, should be longer. At just under 5 feet. I think the cable will be
pick that fucking shield up instead.
You need new cables to charge the phone, so making sure Apple doesn't suddenly just drop the cable from the box is nice. And I'm assuming that most people have a USB-C power brick. So as long as you have a cable to go with that power brick, you should be all good. So one thing you could definitely do on your new iPhone 15 or 14 or any other generation is get smarter and learn something new or educate yourself on an area that you want to learn more about. One of the best ways to do that is one of the most trusted names in journalism, and that's the Financial Times. And you might think Financial Times, financials right in the headlines, all we're going to talk about. You actually get a great sort of swath of world politics, U.S. politics, science, engineering, and just some really cool human interest stories. Like I was reading today, I didn't know horseshoe crab was used in a lot of pharmaceuticals. That was interesting, and it's blue, which is weird. Also, as someone who has a history in their family of prostate cancer, we're reading today about how new MRI tests are more accurate than blood tests at detecting some forms of prostate cancer. Hopefully that immediately impacts me. If you want to learn more about debates that are going on, things that are happening all over the world, then lean more into the financial side too, which has been really helpful for me, learning about different ETFs, new companies that are coming onto the market, new SPAC mergers that are coming out. You can also get access, of course, to all the articles, but also on the app, you can listen to the articles as well. And this is like award-winning reporting.
without really a political agenda at all. You just want to learn about what's happening, about the opinions or the force on you. Financial Times would be a really good place to start. It's helped me round out my portfolio, make me a more educated investor, but it's also made me a more educated human being. And there's something in the world that you want to learn more about, or just want to be more educated. Some of the best journalists in the world, FT Financial Times is probably the best way to go. So if you want to check it out, just click the link below to subscribe to Financial Times for just $1 to receive a 1-month trial. Of course, I'll put a link to it down below. So the last rumor we got comes from Andrew O'Hara with Apple Insider, going against what Mark Gurman has said earlier about the name of the phone, 15 Pro Max. According to O'Hara, multiple sources have told him that the biggest change will in fact be the name of the phone, and it's going to be the iPhone 15 Ultra, ditching the Max name. Think of something that fits that top-end phone. Mark Gurman talked about this possibility months ago, but ultimately said he thinks it's more likely to come the iPhone 16 series. But if O'Hara's sources are correct, I'd be seeing it this year. Yes, that makes sense. You got the Apple Watch Ultra for the top line of that series, and having the iPhone Ultra to differentiate, I think, from the other previous models. Ultimately, the name change doesn't need much for what we can expect for the phone. For all intents and purposes, it's still just going to be a 15 Pro Max with the brand. Those are the newer rumors. We're also expecting a bunch of other changes with the 15 series. So all of these phones are going to include sort of a few changes. First, slimmer bezel profitable. iPhone 15 line should shrink that down to about 1.55 millimeters. You'll see a mock-up of these things next to each other, pretty striking difference. On the iPhone 15 and 15 Plus, we're expecting the Dynamic Island to trickle down to the non-Pro phones, so that should be pretty nice. I really like Dynamic Island. I know I tend to be in the minority there. I think it's going to make the phones feel more premium without having to pay the sort of Pro or Pro Max or Ultra price. The iPhone 15 Pro and Ultra are expected to have the biggest upgrades. These both are expected to use titanium for the band instead of stainless steel that we have now. Think of it as like we got with the Apple Watch, but just together, especially when it comes to materials. And on the side, the mute switch is going away. They'll replace a programmable button, like the action button we've got in the Apple Watch Ultra. Should be a bunch of customization to the iPhone we've never had before. I know a lot of people are very upset about the mute switch or profile switch going away, but I'm going to tell you a secret. You can just make the action button do exactly the same thing. And on the iPhone 15 Ultra Pro Max, we're expecting a periscope telephoto camera that can enable 6x optical zoom with a gigantic 2x bump in the front. So we actually have some new colors. Actually,
let's go up here.
To make the dummy to kind of reveal than we've had in past years. So for the 15, we've got black, pink, yellow, blue, and green. And again, they look sort of like springish colors, I guess, more than fall colors. But, you know, look nice, that's your jam. On the Pro side, all those rumors that Sweet Red or Product Red look to be completely debunked. Instead, you're getting silver, gray, black, and blue. So no gold this year, actually for the first time since the iPhone 10, so a very muted color palette for the iPhone 15 Pro. And the blue is a good simple. The blue is easy for you. You can see what it looks like. None of these colors are that exciting, so it looks like it can be a case year for a lot of iPhones. According to the latest rumors, the Pro models could be coming in at $200 more expensive. And that is a pretty big bump. We actually haven't seen a price increase on iPhones for a while, despite component shortages and cost of goods getting more expensive. But $200 is a pretty penny. So you got to think long and hard if you really want to upgrade. First of all, if you really want to upgrade, especially to the Pro models. Alright, so that's some of the last minute rumors of the iPhone 15. Oh, it seems to be a pretty minor update. It's not going to change the iPhone as we know it. But for me, USB Type-C would be the biggest reason that I would consider upgrading. In a lot of ways, Apple is just doing what Apple does. And they're bringing kind of features that Android phones and other phones have had for years. Kind of got me thinking about like what might come next. Not necessarily next year, but what is next for the iPhone that'll make everybody finally say, like, wow, again. First time you saw multi-touch, first time you tried a capacitive keyboard, those kind of wow moments. I think it's entirely possible that there is just no new next thing for the iPhone, just little iteration and little iteration. Apple clearly bet a ton of money into Apple creating Pro, and if that gains traction, that might turn the iPhone into the iPod. It'll still get updates, but it won't be where Apple's focus will be. I kind of think that's what Apple's hoping will happen. But none of us have really used Vision Pro for any long periods of time. Not out yet. It's hard to say whether or not that will actually happen. Assuming the iPhone is sticking around, it's a lot of sense that Apple will give in and create a folding phone. Just like ultimately gave in and gave us a large screen phone. I'm not talking a flip iPhone, but a true folding iPhone that opens up.
Are you going to them? What are you doing? No.
So whatever.
Let's win this.
We know the iPhone 15 is coming. We're really only a few weeks away from knowing what.
And if you go, I'm going to have to come with you, but I don't want you to do that.
Milky says. But I'm hoping that there's still some magic left in Apple. They're going to surprise us with one more thing or something we didn't see coming. Bring the mystery back to the says.
I'm not. Today we're talking about why people are scared of Swifties causing a riot, or we might actually have a government shutdown. The Attorney General of Texas is on trial today. Our show Rogan made
They just saw me.
Podcasting, fun new flesh-eating bacteria just dropped, and I kid you not, how alien invasions are costing us $500 billion every year. We're going to talk about all that and so much more on today's brand new Philip Franco show. You daily dive into the news, but quick thing, I got to say a thank you and I'm sorry. Yesterday, if you didn't see the Labor Day show, I launched my coffee company, Wake and Make Coffee. I said we could probably only do about 2,000 orders. My numbers were wrong. We actually ended up crushing my initial goal. The good news for those of you that didn't catch yesterday's show, we actually have some bags still up for grabs. So go check it out. Snag yourself a bag of 3. We have 3 fantastic 4 launch roasts, guiding light, happy, medium, and dark matter, each with awesome flavor notes. If you go by now, I'm so sure that you're going to like it. I have offerings of 25 to 50% off. But that's the last I'm going to talk about that this week. We got a lot of news to talk about, so hit that like button. Let's just jump in. Starting with, in entertainment news, the Swifties must be stopped. That's something a number of people are yelling right now because of this whole Eras Tour concert film that's going to be hitting theaters in October. Because if you missed it, Taylor's Eras Tour, in addition to being just like crazy successful on its own, it's also coming to movie theaters, and even though it's over a month away, the anticipation is being through the roof. With a pre-sale breaking records for AMC theaters, making $26 million in its first day at AMC alone, and totaling $37 million in first day pre-sale across other theater chains. Y'all, it beat Spider-Man No Way Home. Y'all, she beat Star Wars The Force Awakens. And so theaters are already expected to be crowded, but the people attending are also planning on being loud, essentially acting as if this is the actual concert, and posting TikToks saying things like,
"I'm not treating this movie like it
plan." Those were sparked really unpronounced across the eastern seaboard from last week's hurricane. So know that in 2020 really only represents noise rather than keep talking, moving those from the ambassador ads program, which is where Spotify paid to try and sell them on what is essentially an advance. Which, hey, we're in speculation, Bill, here, but I don't Plus, with Squarespace, you get operations in Ukraine. And overall, they do not seem happy with this turn of events, with Cuban authorities at it. Cuba is acting and will act energetically against anyone who participates in any form of human trafficking for the purpose of recruitment of Cuban citizens as mercenaries to use arms against any country. Now, notably, this is not the first time that we've heard of Cubans fighting for Russia in this war. But in those cases, it didn't seem like there was a network to force them into doing it. We also right now don't know exactly how far the government has gone to dismantle this network, but the fact that they are publicly calling this out is especially interesting because on top of Russia being a major ally for them, there has been a long-standing precedent for Cubans to be sent abroad to fight in the then Soviet Union's proxy wars. So notably, this time there are some key differences. Right, first up, in those wars, Cuba was able to portray its troops as revolutionaries who would then return home. This time, though, they feel like many nations do, that Russia's just being predatory and trying to take advantage of desperate citizens. Or they're offering like $2,000 a month to foreign fighters on top of the possibility of citizenship, which for many Cubans could be an amazing combination, with reportedly doctors there maybe not even making $2,000 a year, and there's always people desperate to leave. But so for being real, like if you take the morality out of Russia's bullshit war and you go like, hey, I'm desperate, it's easy to see why a Cuban citizen might take that deal. But I guess also why the Cuban government would find it such a massive insult that its citizens were considered so cheap to recruit. And then, political news, we are now staring down the barrel of the shotgun that is a potential government shutdown and the impeachment.
Thanks to Linode for supporting this SciShow video. You can get a $100 60-day credit on a new Linode account at linode.com/SciShow. In the early 1990s, researchers in the UK began clinical trials using a drug called sildenafil to treat chest pain. It didn't turn out to be particularly promising for that purpose, but subjects reported an unexpected side effect that caught the researchers' attention. They began focusing on that instead, and in 1998, the FDA approved sildenafil for sale under the brand name Viagra. This is the only time that a drug has been repurposed because of useful side effects. In fact, it might be about to happen again, but this time we may be honing in on a treatment for addiction. Our stop today is a medication called semaglutide, which you may be familiar with by its brand names Ozempic, and Wegovy. The two brands are the same active compound, but at different doses, and they also have different uses. Ozempic was originally approved by the FDA in 2017 to treat type 2 diabetes, and Wegovy was approved in 2021 for what doctors refer to as chronic weight management. After semaglutide was approved for weight management, the drug skyrocketed in popularity, which turned out to be kind of a problem because people who've been taking it for years to treat their diabetes were all of a sudden having trouble getting their hands on it due to supply shortages. But as more people began taking semaglutide, some of them also began reporting that once they started taking Ozempic, they were no longer all that interested in drinking alcohol. Even those who had self-reported was originally approved by the FDA in 2017 to treat type 2 diabetes, and Wegovy was approved in 2021 for what doctors refer to as chronic weight management. After semaglutide was approved for weight management, the drug skyrocketed in popularity, which turned out to be kind of a problem because people who'd been taking it for years to treat their diabetes were all of a sudden having trouble getting their hands on it due to supply shortages. But as more people began taking semaglutide, some of them also began reporting that once they started taking Ozempic, they were no longer all that interested in drinking alcohol. Even those who had self-reported addictive tendencies or unhealthy fixations on alcohol suddenly felt cravings stop, just like that. And that isn't quite as far out of left field as it sounds once you understand exactly how semaglutide works. Semaglutide mimics a naturally occurring hormone called glucagon, like peptide 1 or GLP-1, that's released primarily in the gut after eating and raises insulin levels to stabilize your blood sugar. Semaglutide is only one of many medications that mimic GLP-1, and the first of these drugs was approved in 2005. They work by binding with receptors in the pancreas to stimulate insulin production. Plus, they can also slow down how quickly your stomach empties, which leaves you feeling fuller for longer. The entire class of drugs is actually named after those receptors the hormone binds with, not the hormone itself. So they're called GLP-1 receptor agonists. It's the insulin-boosting effect that GLP-1 receptor agonists capitalize on to treat diabetes. The increased feeling of fullness means less appetite and fewer cravings for high-fat foods, which can result in weight loss. Even though GLP is mostly released in the gut, there are GLP-1 receptors throughout the body, including areas of the brain typically associated with reward and addiction. And so scientists have studied various GLP-1 agonists to see how they might affect addictive behaviors. In mice, rats, and even non-human primates, giving an animal a GLP-1 agonist reduces how much alcohol they drink and decreases the rewarding effects of drinking alcohol. And in other animal studies, those GLP-1 agonists have also been shown to decrease cocaine consumption, cocaine-related hyperactivity, and dopamine release in reward-related areas of the brain. Rodent studies also show decreased rewarding effects of nicotine as well as decreased nicotine-induced hyperactivity. In other words, this class of drugs may make addictive substances less desirable by blunting the effects and making them less rewarding. That's different from the current treatments that make you feel sick when you take drugs or drink alcohol so you stop doing it. These GLP-1 agonists appear to actually be changing how much of a dopamine hit comes from the addictive substance, although scientists don't yet know exactly how they interact with that dopamine. But there still aren't many human studies on GLP-1 and addiction that have been completed yet, and almost none involve semaglutide specifically. One of those few human studies found that one GLP-1 receptor agonist reduced alcohol use in patients who were obese, but not in patients who weren't. As of June 2023, there have only been a handful of studies published that specifically look at semaglutide and addiction. Those studied rodents, and they suggested semaglutide decreases alcohol intake and the activity of reward mechanisms in the brain, so they're really a promising start. But the jury's still out on whether GLP-1 receptor agonists in general will work to reduce addictive behaviors in clinical trials on humans. Semaglutide definitely seems to have an effect in people, but right now we only have anecdotal reports of reduced interest in drinking and other addictive behaviors. It's possible that this only happens in a small minority of people, It just feels like a lot right now because so many people have recently started taking it and we're paying attention to those reports. Plus, a lot of rodent testing has focused on short-term effects after getting a GLP-1 receptor agonist injection. That doesn't really tell us if a drug will continue to be effective for long-term treatment. And since substance use disorders are long-term chronic issues, that's an important question to answer too. Really, just about any question about addiction treatment is an important one. Addiction is incredibly difficult to treat. There are only a few medications on the market to treat some substance use disorders, and they don't work for everyone. And while a few drugs show promise, there are currently no approved medications for cocaine or methamphetamine addiction, so finding and approving new drugs could truly be a game changer. But we can't do that without human studies looking at semaglutide and substance use, which are currently underway. And if that doesn't work, an added bonus is that drugs already approved by the FDA for another condition are approved more quickly than brand new drugs. New drugs take years of animal and human safety testing to get the green light. With an already approved drug, the mechanism of how it works is already known, as are the side effects, which makes the whole process move faster. It even happened with Viagra in 2005, when the active ingredient was finally approved for pulmonary hypertension on a shorter timeline than it took to get the first one. Hopefully, the clinical trials of semaglutide are successful, and these anecdotal reports will be the first step towards more effective treatment of addiction. It could save a lot of lives and a lot of pain, all because a new drug happened to have very useful side effects. This episode of SciShow is supported by Linode, a cloud computing company from Akamai. Cloud computing is technology. I mean, it practically has the word computer in the name. But Linode has found ways to keep the human connection front and center, even in the tech world. Linode has award-winning customer support staff, so you can talk to a real person anytime, any day. Or you can check out their website full of video tutorials, blogs, and guides that explain the tech in plain language, so you don't have to be a developer to understand what's going on. But the community of people who love Linode expands beyond their employees. As a Linode customer, you can communicate with other people just like you in forums to troubleshoot new applications and work together to achieve your goals. To get started with Linode, you can click the link in the description down below or go to linode.com/scishow for a $100 60-day credit on a new Linode account. Thanks for watching this episode of SciShow.
What? Wait, are timeshares kind of scams? I remember I went to Hawaii once with my family, and then we were stuck in this timeshare tour for 3 hours. My dad was like, if you don't let us out of this tour, we're gonna sue you. And then he was like screaming at the salesman, and I'm like, oh, and the salesman's like, oh, sorry, sir, we're going about now because we had
Across the way.
We had an appointment for our scuba diving, for a snorkeling session. And my dad's like, if you don't let us out right now, we're gonna sue you, and we will never go out a day. And then the first time I saw my dad get really angry, oh, timeshares kind of seem like a scam.
They're getting third party.
If you can't already tell, I have moved away from
What is the plan?
cookie cutter review template that we used to rely so heavily on earlier in this channel's life. And the reasons are twofold. Firstly, we don't have the equipment nor the manpower to keep up with some of the channels that are publishing very in-depth, very data-rich product reviews out there. I'm not going to act like I can compete with that. So that was kind of the writing on the wall. The second reason is that reviews just usually don't do very well. Click-wise, viewership-wise, I mean, regardless of the product in question, my goal ultimately is to drive clicks, to drive views. That's how I get paid. That's how I make more money instead of less money. And if nobody wants to watch reviews, it would be the dumbest thing ever from a business standpoint to continue making them. I did, however, make an exception for this product. This would be the most expensive pre-built gaming PC I've ever reviewed from Origin PCs, and it comes in at just over $4,000 as spec. I'm ready to jump into the meat and potatoes of this one because boy oh boy, it is expensive, and I've got a feeling it's going to cost a lot more to buy this or increase some of the we shall see. Are you ready? Stay. Oh, to get rid of that annoying Windows activation watermark, head on over to VIP SCD. Purchase a Windows 10 Pro OEM key for a fraction
Thank you.
of the price of retail. Just use a secure payment method like PayPal, enter your product key in your PC settings window, and save the buck you want. And be sure to use our offer code SKGS for a week. Let's kick things off for this $4,000+ pre-built app spec with a rundown of just that. The specifications, I've got my cheat sheet here, and boy oh boy is it a long list. Starting first, we've got a Corsair iCUE 5000X. This meaning it has a glass front panel, not the airy, perforated panel you'll find in the V variants, although you do get side intakes, which will help them significantly in our testing, and you get a top-mounted 360mm AIO, which exhausts on the top. The motherboard is an MSI NPG G790 Edge Wi-Fi, which takes DDR5 memory. The CPU is a Core i9-13900KF, with turbo boost all the way up to 6 GHz.
Let's go craft him or something.
Nice. The GPU is an NVIDIA 24GB RTX 4090 Founders Edition. The memory config is a 64GB stack of Dominator Platinum DDR5 modules at 5600 MHz each. The OS drive is a Corsair 2TB NP600.
Are you interested in crafting him instead, bro?
Drive, although I should note that you don't get any other storage in this. For a little over $4,000, I'd expect to get more than 2 TB. That's just me. It might be perfectly fine for you, but I'd like a bit more flexibility in storage.
They're still pushing. We gotta move, bro. We gotta move. Just move.
Gold power supply, fully modular. I don't see anything really wrong with that. The AIO, as mentioned earlier, is a 360mm H150i Elite Capellix XT, which does have the built-in screen, although this is not notably the latest iCUE Link ecosystem, which involves very minimal wiring and things. So it seems Origin's a bit behind on the latest and greatest from Corsair, which is interesting because Corsair owns Origin now. There's a bit of a disconnect, but I think you'll still be fine with this hardware. The fans all around are Corsair QLs, look like 120s. I don't see any 140s in here, and there's not a stone left unturned, my friends. Every single fan mount is occupied, which I suppose in this price range, that's a good thing. And to tie it all in, it's going to come with Windows 11 Home already installed and activated on that B drive we mentioned earlier, the NP600 Pro XT. So, yeah, there's a lot in this, but I can tell you right away, just by reading these specs, that we're going to have some gaps in this build budget. I think you can build a lot cheaper what they're paying from Origin. One thing I noticed right out of the gate is the clearance between these AIO tubes and this top fan in the RTX 4090 FE. These were awfully close, actually practically touching by the time the system arrived here, and I'll show you why. This is how the system arrives in that crate I mentioned earlier. So it's got this inflatable sealed air pack, which we actually use ourselves for shipping PCs. It's a good thing, it keeps the graphics card stable in there, but it also pushes this tubing down into the top fan, which could create a bit of noise, potentially damage the fan if you turn the system on and don't realize this. So if you're buying this, make sure that you make sure these tubes are out of the way. A bit of an oversight on Origin's part, just note going forward. Now, a hallmark of Origin PCs as of late seems to be cable management, and this is the third system where I've just been genuinely jaw-droppingly impressed by the amount of just meticulous effort.
Don't respond. No, I got him here. You don't waste that. Oh my god.
It probably took more than an hour alone. We've got 3 different hubs for fans, RGB, and this is by itself already a huge challenge. You can see how many zip ties they've used, probably over 50 if I had to guess. The only reason this cable is not straight horizontal or vertical is because it's simply not long enough. But the effort here is just second to none. You've really got some of the best cable management in the pre-built business in Origin PCs right now. This one's me just being picky, but I am a bit perturbed by the fact that there are 2 empty DIMM slots in this board. And you're spending over $4,000, and it just feels a bit incomplete. I know why they did it though. It's so that you could upgrade to, say, 128 gigs of DDR5 by adding 2 additional sticks. It's not bad, it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a lot. I do have to say, cable management on this side of things is extremely clean, very minimal cable exposure. You can tell they really took their time, which is what you want in a pre-built system. And we've got a unified 12-volt high power cable instead of that ugly splitter setup where you have like 3 different 8-pins all tethered to the same connector. It's really ugly.
Dude, that was ridiculous.
They went this route. And in case you're wondering, yes, you can customize this AIO screen to pretty much whatever you want. I like this motherboard's rear I/O selection, ample USB ports, but we're limited in terms of Ethernet to a single 2.5 gig port. I want to do something at this point that I haven't really done before, and that's jump very early on into the pricing of this unit, because I think it's too big an elephant in this room to ignore for much longer. Folks are expecting to pay a bit of a premium. Of course, Origin has to eat, right? So there's going to be a bit of a markup there. There's obviously labor that goes into it. Too many components ahead of time. The risk of sitting on inventory to make these to order as quickly as they do. All of that should be considered. The problem is, as you start pricing up these rigs, you get into the $3,000-$4,000 territory. The premiums on these pre-builds get that much larger. And you might chalk that up to, well, there's going to be richer people that buy these, they can afford it. But the value is what starts to really diminish, and you'd be surprised. There's a lot of wealthy individuals out there who value more than we do. You can even argue that's one of the reasons why they have more money. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to price this entire rig out as spec, and I'll get back to you in a few seconds with the results. Well, not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So the exact price of this system, according to Origin, is $4,299. That is our reference point, and you can see I have picked almost verbatim this exact spec sheet from their website on PC Part Picker. The only exception, really, that I can tell is the case. I chose the white and gray version instead of the black one because, for whatever reason, the white one was like 40 bucks cheaper, but that gives us a total still of around $3,850. Which is only about, what,
I don't understand these cameras.
down from what you'd pay to have Origin built.
Do not.
I think the real kickers here that drove up the price higher than I was expecting were the Core i9 itself. That's a $730 CPU that hasn't really come down since, and because it's the S SKU, obviously it carries that price premium, so that drove things up a bit higher than I was expecting. Of course, the RTX 4090 is a $1,600 card. There's no way around that. And then the fans, the iCUE QL120s, I forgot that there were an extra like 6 in here that you're not going to get otherwise, and those are $110 each. That's a lot for fans, premium ones at that, but still, that's ultimately what helped contribute to this $3,850 price tag. So if, for whatever reason, you wanted to build your own system identical to this one that Origin offers, you'd be saving, again,
Why?
under
Why?
$500.
Why?
And you'd
Why?
be paying a lot for fans and, frankly, other things you could probably do without. For example, this Core i9, though many would argue necessary, doesn't have to rely necessarily on DDR5. You could get a DDR4 Z790 motherboard and pair that with much cheaper 64 gig DIMMs. You could go for 128 here.
But because of the fucking curve, bro.
DDR4 to DDR5 at this point. DDR4 is so cheap now, it would be a sin in my book not at least to consider it. The 4090 is pretty much capped out. You're not going to get much better than this. You'll be paying a heck of a lot more for workstation or server-grade graphics cards. You could obviously choose a cheaper case, though I'm totally fine with the 5000X in this scenario. And of course, you could skip out on all the extra fans. If you wanted to go the new Corsair Link route, you're probably going to add another $300 or $400 to this budget. Those components are definitely not cheap. And you'd certainly have room for a much more expensive power supply if you wanted to go the route of a 1200 watt unit or even a 1500 watt. That would still keep you under the $4,300 ask if you built this yourself. So the evidence isn't totally damning for Origin in the price department, which is not what I expected. And speaking of fair, I suppose it wasn't fair of me to assume that the rig was going to be just an egregious price relative to what you could build it for because of its price alone. That's not fair to the rig. It's definitely not fair to Origin. So I definitely need to check myself going forward when it comes to my initial assumptions and how those might skew my perceptions and things I say out of the gate in videos like these. Could you pick better parts? Arguably, and you could spend your money a bit better in a $4,000 budget. But if you want it, for whatever reason, this exact configuration, again, we're only looking at between a 10 and 15%-ish markup. Anything over 20, and you're going to get a serious grilling from me. But I don't expect it to be a break even for Origin. I certainly don't expect it to be cheaper than it would cost you right to build. And I think on that note, the only time it's ever actually been cheaper to buy a pre-build would have been around the time graphics cards were extremely expensive and very difficult to obtain, somewhere around 2020, 2021. And you could buy pre-builds with graphics cards in them, rip the graphics card out, build your own system, sell the pre-build, and actually make money. Set of circumstances. I suppose then, on that bombshell, that we should move on to the performance chapter of this video. and I've got a feeling this is where it's going to shine. 3D Mark Time Spy is a 1440p VX12 synthetic. I like to use this because we can compare our results to others who have run the exact same test, and we scored better than 99% of all submitted results. We're basically in the top 1% model here with this combination of hardware. Again, not much of a surprise. You can see we are just so far ahead of the game, and it's mainly because of our graphics card. The RTX 4090 with a graphics score of 36,117 is just light years above anything else I've personally ever tested. Just for the lulz, I also decided to throw a Firestrike Ultra at it, also from 3D Mark, with a score of 24,446. We are still way higher than pretty much anything else tested in this software suite, better than 99% of all submitted results. It's practically effortless for this, but my oh my, this is impressive, I've got to say. Now it's time for some real games, starting with Assassin's Creed Odyssey. This is a beefy game to run, especially in 4K and with the highest graphical preset enabled. You can see we're still pushing north of 100 FPS in most scenes. Yes, we are largely graphics card bound. You can't really get much better than a 4090, so if we're GPU bound, so be it. I'll take these frame rates with this preset. Hopping into a Formula 1 car then with F123. This is 4K, pretty much maxed out. Again, you guys know the drill. We're north of 100 FPS. We do have DLSS, though, to take advantage of here. In this title, you obviously won't have that in every title, but we might as well enable it. That's my perspective on this. You don't really see much of an image quality hit at all with DLS3. I'm not even sure if F123 supports DLS3. I assume it does since it's a new title, but even so, this still looks incredible in 4K, and we're pushing north of 120 FPS in a lot of instances. So very happy with this. You can see our CPU's just chilling around 12, 15, 20% utilization. It's a bit funny. I mean, our 4090 is carrying most of the load here in the higher resolution, but it's still churning out frame rates like an absolute boss. It's almost comical at this point. This is Shadow of the Tomb Raider, and admittedly NVIDIA touted title, though I expected 4K and the highest graphical preset with the OSX at 2 balanced to bring things a bit lower than what we're seeing here. Well north of 120 FPS, looking more like 165, so for those who have 4K 165 Hz monitors, just feel free to max everything out. We don't have ray tracing enabled. It's the only thing that we could have dumped onto this card. You could probably get around 100 to 120 FPS with that enabled. It's still a very fair performance overall. Lastly then, the revamped Battlefront 2. This was also fairly comical because our frame rate was pretty much pegged at 200 FPS, which is the frame capture zone, I believe, for almost the duration of the recording session here. This is actually me playing, which is why I'm absolute trash at it. But you see, it's so smooth, just ultra buttery smooth in the highest graphical preset. It's a cake for this game. In fact, we're not even fully graphics card limited, so we pretty much just tapped out this game's potential. I mean, the 4090 is actually too powerful of a card for a game like this in the standard 4K resolution. Just incredible to see. A few other things worth noting about Origin pre-builds in particular. And I want to make that distinction. This is a pre-built, not a custom order rig. I didn't handpick anything. They didn't handpick anything for me. If you buy the Neuron 5000X pre-built system, it's going to look exactly like this, more or less, given, assuming there aren't any major parts changes down the line. This is subject to a 1 to 3 day shipping clause, which means that within 3 days it should be shipped. That's pretty decent turnaround time. I'd expect that though, since you can pretty much just build these in bulk, because again, you're not changing much. You also get a free ground shipping option with this, which I didn't, of course, receive. I got mine in a crate for some reason.
There we go, motherfucker! But look at this one all fucked up now. Look at that one. Oh no, that's okay. That's okay.
Go for the ground.
We can go with that.
Option. If something goes wrong, call Origin. I imagine they'll make it.
Call Origin. Call 1-800-ORIGIN. They'll come fix your PC now. Oh, benchmark's still going.
Time support for these systems. I don't know how they're going to do that. I obviously can't test that because I just stressed something a few days ago. But it is there. It's on their site. Hold them to it. If something goes wrong, let me know in the comment section. If you're shopping for your next power supply, look no further than Intermax's Revolution DFX units. With their high static pressure, 6-pole motor fans, and patented self-cleaning technology, enjoy peace of mind from a PSU built with safety and durability at the forefront. And of course, each unit's built for the latest generation of graphics cards with up to 2 12-volt high power lines, each with optional 8+8, 12+4 for additional expansion. Revolution DFX is ATX 3.0 and PCIe 5.0 ready, super compact, fully modular, and ready to rumble. Find them in wattages up to 1600 by clicking the link below. Yeah, about to film an outro. These fans extremely loud at their default settings. They need to be tweaked in the BIOS. They weren't when the system arrived. Another thing I noticed while we're on the subject of stuff you might want to tweak, the BIOS on this board was definitely a bit buggy. There were times when I couldn't even see the buttons on the left and right side of the screen due to things like motherboard, overclocking, etc. I ended up having to flash the latest stable BIOS for this NPG board from MSI to get things to work properly. Not the end of the world, but I'd expect at least a stable BIOS in the board of a $4,300 pre-build. But it's so much quieter. So consider tweaking your fan curves if necessary. Consider updating your BIOS or at least checking the current vision that you're on before doing things. And maybe consider downloading IQ and syncing up all these fans because you saw a second ago, some of them were synced up to red, some to white, and I think it's just a result of having multiple RGB and fan hubs behind here. It's a bit of a cluster. Somehow it works, but it's a lot of wiring and it can be a bit jarring. For $4,300 then, the Neuron is no slouch, but that should be a surprise to literally no one because this thing costs a metric crap ton of money. It's so much money, and I feel like at this point I owe it to my audience to show you what you could build to get roughly 95-ish% of the performance of this rig. If you were just a bit smarter about your parts choices, and you were willing to maximize value instead of just the organic ecosystem that is Corsair. I know some will say this is apples to oranges. I'm not using the same case, I'm not using the same cooler, heck, I'm not even using RGB capable fans. But that's my point. If you're willing to compromise a bit and prioritize value instead of aesthetics and a unified ecosystem, you can save so much freaking money. Like I got this to around $3,000. That's a $1,300 difference from this thing. Remember, my system still has a 13900K in it, not an SU, but still a K. It still has an RTX 4090, and I made it a point to not only double the storage in my system, but also increase the wattage of the power supply from 1,000 watts to 1,200, still a great efficiency rating, and still an A-tier list unit. That's the point I'm trying to make here. It's not so much that I dislike Origin's current price with the current specs, I just dislike the fact that the current specs led to the price per app. With that, if the Neuron 5000X still suits your fancy, I will have it linked below in the video description for you to check out. I'll also have just a generic splash page for some other pre-built, even customized rigs on Origin's website, so give all that a look if you're interested. I think you'll find better values than this one on the site, and that tends to be the case the further down the price range you get. With that, if you guys enjoyed this one, give it a thumbs up, consider subscribing if you have not already, and I will catch you in the next one. My name is Greg. Thanks for learning.
Hey, thanks.
Care package being delivered.
Well,
Looks like a care
I did
package is coming in.
Ozempic.
Big things in that.
I'm crafting. Patience.
What's she doing?
Got some extra supplies.
What's up, nerds? Snow's here, and it's been a while. And that's because about a month ago, I started working on this video that you're watching right now. It was supposed to be a hack roundup video for keyboards, like try different hacks and mods that are supposed to make my keyboard sound or feel different or better. Naturally, I needed a test subject, and that is this keyboard right here, the Kurama K552. Now, before we get into the first hack, I mean, a month is a long time to make a video. And that's because I tried to make my own hack, and it was so stupid the way it was wait till the end of the video, it gets kind of insane. Anyways, first hack, if you can call it that, is the usual. It's called the tape mod. This is the most famous keyboard mod for a reason. By putting some painter's tape on the back of the PCB, you add a layer of dampening to the keyboard that makes the keyboard more soft, sound a little more on the low end. That's cool, but it really only works if A, the PCB is part of the mounting mechanism, or B, the PCB
What are you guys
almost
doing?
sits on the back of the casing. That way, you're basically filling the gap between the PCB and the back. Anyways, I taped up some PCB, and, well, you tell me if you hear a difference.
They're shooting at me.
Recharging shields.
Hold on, I heal.
Cover me. I'm using a Phoenix kit.
Honestly, I'm about to throw a jump tower, an evac tower. Oh no, this is gonna go.
Yeah. I will. Wait, she's so far.
So yeah.
Get out of here, leave me. I got hit by a different
I
team.
don't know what to do about that.
PCB doesn't really affect the sound.
No, yeah, craft it.
Yeah, we got you.
Filling the gap between the PCB and the back. It's called the tape mod. This is the most famous keyboard mod for a reason. By putting some painter's tape on the back of the PCB, you add a layer of dampening to the keyboard that makes the keyboard more soft, sound a little more on the low end. That's cool, but it really only works if A, the PCB is part of the mounting mechanism, or B, the PCB almost sits on the back of the casing. That way, you're basically filling the gap between the PCB and the back. Anyways, I taped up some PCB, and, well, you tell me if you hear a difference.
Down.
So yeah, they made a slight difference, but not much. The K552 mounts on the top metal layer, so the PCB doesn't really affect the sound. And the case of the keyboard is a pretty empty shell, so the tape doesn't really fill that void. The second thing I tried was something I saw on the channel called Keyboard here on YouTube. Shout out to this guy, really cool content. What he did was really cool. He took regular Elmer's glue and filled up all of the keycaps. Here's past me doing this hack. First thing I have to say is don't do this. I mean, he also says that, but the glue is like 90% water. So once you fill it up once and you let it dry, it just goes back to like not even a millimeter thick. And then you have to fill it up again. And I did this 3 times, and I'm still nowhere near a filled up keycap. So you notice what it looks like. You see? And on almost all of them, the glue is kind of peeling away. Because the glue, when it dries, it basically constricts itself. It pulled away from the edges on bigger pieces, like this space bar right here. So yeah, the glue peels, whatever. Let's do a sound test.
Medkit here.
We still got a disruptor?
First hack. Yeah, it's down here.
Up here. Disruptor. Helmet here.
Dibs.
Level 3.
Okay, this actually made a sound difference. It sounded much more muted.
I'll throw my low
But
here so you can loot it
let's go
quick.
back to past the snows. We have kind of a sticky situation. You know, if I type lightly, everything's mostly fine. But if I kind of, you know, hammer it home, some of them might just start to stick. You see? Kind of like these right here. Yeah, they're stuck down. So yeah, they stick. It's mainly because, you see, the switches on the K552 are the ones with cherry stems and brackets, meaning that the glued areas interfere with the brackets, causing sticking and mismatched key heights. So, it's a fail for me. Then I decided to jerry-rig my own keyboard hat. I thought, hey, the big thing about my personal favorite keyboards that I've reviewed here on this channel is that they all have some kind of silicone pad weaved into the layers. So wouldn't it be nice if I could make my own silicone pads for cheap?
Alright, way to get out of that, boys.
Actually, I started researching how to make silicone sheets for cheap, and boom. All I needed was some cornstarch, a tube of silicone caulk, and a way to mix them. Naturally, a bowl and a spatula. So what you're about to watch is someone being unprepared, who didn't do all of its research, and generally being dumb. I had fun watching me suffer the consequences of my own actions. And we put that sucker in the cornstarch. Apparently this stuff sets pretty fast. I'm gonna get rid of this. Okay. Put that in my cup of water that I've been reusing. And then I'm gonna grab, where is it? I could swear I brought a spatula. Okay, got a silicone spatula and my cornstarch mixture here. And basically you're supposed to mix until the silicone stops grabbing the cornstarch. So I just mix and mix. At some point it's going to be handleable by hand. So, vinegar.
Want to hold strong, or you want to run?
Probably not good once again. I should probably put the pan in. Okay. Nope, not yet. Still absorbing some of that cornstarch. Not like when I make pickles. Pickled onions, by the way. Amazing. Okay, so it's kind of handleable right now. Oh!
Here, can we go scrappy and go ahead and loot this Loba real quick?
Come on!
There's an enemy nearby, careful.
You stay below the fumes.
Shack.
You don't smell it as much. At that point, I had left the room for about 10 minutes to kind of let it air out a bit. What happened there is called acetoxy curing. I'm not sure if I pronounced that right, but anyways, when the silicone cures, it releases acetic acid into the air. Like I said earlier, it smelled like I was making pickles. And that's because when I make pickles, I simply mix water and an acetic acid solution, aka vinegar. And I boil
Where you going? This way?
The same thing happened when I rapidly accelerated the silicone curing with the cornstarch. Acetic acid was released into the air. This was just way more concentrated. As for the safety,
90% on my
wasn't
ult.
comfortable. Definitely wasn't enough to cause damage. I knew that
Back up to
around 5 to
60%
10 ppm of
for another
the
Loba.
earlier, it smelled like I was making pickles. And that's because when I make pickles, I simply mix
really all I
water
need
and
is
an
a
acetic
better
acid
sniper
solution,
stock. I've got a common.
aka vinegar. And
then
I
I'd
boil
really
it
like
up
it
to
3
make my
times.
pickles liquid. The same thing happened when I rapidly accelerated the silicone curing with the cornstarch. Acetic acid was released into the air. This was just way more concentrated. As for the safety, while it wasn't comfortable, it definitely wasn't enough to cause damage. I knew that around 5 to 10 ppm of acetic acid in the air was going to get released, and that's not dangerous. I just didn't know it was going to be this potent. If you want to do this, use a neutral curing silicone. It's what I should have done. I wanted results quickly, and it costs me. So, yeah. Anyways, I came back after, once the fumes were almost completely gone, and I continued with my project. Oh, and this is the end of the back and forth. I'll let past snows take care of the rest of the video. See ya. Okay, so I'm back, and I have to say, scratch whatever I said before, do not do this indoors. Not even in a well-ventilated
Are we
area.
good? What's
Unless
happening?
you have some kind
I'm
of
chilling on this
chamber
rock.
that can remove
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
all of the air, like the bathroom. No, why am I so stupid? Don't do it inside.
I saw
Don't do it
snipers on my back.
Just watch me be dumb. I would suggest you just don't try this indoors. I broke one of my gloves. That's why I'm here putting one back on.
Shoot this down.
But essentially, this mixture, which is already starting to harden,
Over there. We're right in the middle of everyone.
I'm going to put it inside of the keyboard. Put it in chunks.
Shut him down, open up shop.
It's actually pretty cool.
Whoa.
Besides the fact that I
Whoa.
almost died,
That's how Rough Riders
it
roll.
works pretty well. I guess another tip, since I'm here and I can see that happening, put the screws back inside
Yeah,
of the
someone
post
said there's a team coming. There's a team coming.
before you start putting the silicone in. That way, you can avoid having some of them plugged by the silicone which is what's
95.
happening to me right now. This is not alive, okay? I lost my B-roll camera because
I hit one for 29.
the front-facing camera. Hey, I'm not gonna lie. Started like
Broke one golden with 12.
kind of working right now. What's gonna be impressive is if I can take everything
Oh, there's
off.
someone here
Hey,
too.
one for
Like
70.
in one big shoot once it dries. But man, this is super cool. I never thought I'd actually be able to make something like that for a video. Heck, look, I can take it out entirely like this already. That's pretty cool. Mark, this is just rubber. Okay, so it feels like I kind of achieved what I wanted. It was absolute chaos, and I will definitely say that this method is a fail. But all that counts is if it sounds better or not. So that's all that's left to do. Let's put the PC back on. All right, keyboards on back together, and it's a little bit higher than it should be, but that's fine. I mean, it's all.
Watch out behind you.
It's a beast now. It's as hefty as some of the very expensive keyboards that I have. But I mean, yeah, I did put a whole tube of silicone plus half a thing of cornstarch into it.
Oh,
but let's go ahead and do the sound test.
He's hurt right over here. Staring at those fucking decoys.
You misguided sod. Evo shield here, level 3.
None of those mods are good, bro.
So what did you guys think? I feel that it's a lot more subtle. It's a lot more cappy. I feel like if we were to change the keycaps, it would sound slightly better, but it's a definite improvement in my opinion. It's more muffled, more, I want to say clacky, but I'm not sure if that's exactly the term to use.
Now I am going to plug my electric guitar directly into the 1/4-inch input to illustrate why I don't recommend doing that, and then provide audio running my guitar through an external DI box, and then into the interface you can hear how that would sound.
Battery low. this. Let me know down below what you think of the audio. Obviously, this was just a learning experience for me. I really wanted to try this combo of cornstarch and silicone into a keyboard, and now it's a new skill that I have to mod other things. Who knows? Would I recommend you do this? No, not necessarily, especially not indoors. Do it outside if you're going to. But it's a new skill once again, so if you want to learn how to make rubber, you have something here that you can try. And this brings up the question, what am I going to do next for a keyboard mod? Maybe I'll mod this keyboard again. Let me know down below if you...
YouTube, hello. Guys, before I start this video, I want to tell you that if I see hate in the comments of this video, I'm going to ban you from watching my YouTube channel. Today, we are giving some of our cockroaches here at Alveus a tea party because they've never had one. And I love them, and so do you. Like and subscribe. Time to set up Barbara's tea party. Maybe Baked Bean. Barbara and Baked Bean are Madagascar hissing cockroaches, eat a variety of snacks, so we're going to prepare some for them. If you watch my streams, you know that I'm obsessed with bugs. They're fun to hold. Look at them! Yeah!
Droner. This is about drones? No, it's not.
Okay, bro.
Headsets called the Sarmonics. I'm really excited for them. They're actually some out of the company. The headset themselves are Elite Talk. Obviously, I already unboxed and played them, so I'm gonna make sure that I charge you guys. And I still want to show you this box. Come with a card case, which introduction super helpful, and I'm really happy to do that. As you guys can do, quality. And what you're hearing right now is actually, that's why I put it on. You guys are hearing it. This is what it sounds like when you talk to each other and other people inside the headset. So I'm going to open this up and just show you guys very quickly what we have. So I'm going to show you guys what's in here. So when you open it, they come in these bags. Like the headsets all actually come in these bags that make you feel clean. They have a fun smell to them. There is a battery-based charger that also has a cord that comes with it. Now the cool thing about this little cord thing that you want to see is there's a little button down here in the corner that allows you to open it. And it opens up. And they also sent you different types of what are they called? Plugs. There it goes. Plugs, so that you can actually charge. Use pretty much anywhere in the world. So if you're traveling a lot and you want to do it, it comes with the ability to do that, which I don't ever see on gear. It's like, hey, what do you need? Anything you need to charge anywhere, we got it. So there it is, simple as that. You put that on and you're good to go. Otherwise, they gave us the instructions, which are here, and then some stickers, which we'll have fun with in a little bit. And then just like some very simple instructions for how it can work. Now, there's a couple different ways that you actually can purchase this. The way that we got it was we got the headsets that has the master headset, which operates as the hub, or you can get a hub series. The difference being is that this headset is only going to be able to be linked with 4 other headsets maximum, so a total of 5, whereas the hub can go with 7 other, so you have 8 total. But we're going to play with today is one that has a headset hub, and we have 4 others. We're going to test what it sounds like, which we're doing right now, and we're also going to test the distance. Alright, so as you can see, they come in these little bags here, and I'm going to set a couple of them up so that I can get some help to be able to show you guys the distance test. It's pretty cool. On one side, as you see here, there's this press, which is hilarious. But press, what that does is the battery release. So the battery, as you can see, has the little the spots, the contact points here. You just line them up, slide it in there, and then you go, there you go, boom. Aha, almost made it seem difficult, it wasn't. And then on the other side, you have obviously the microphone coming off of it. Then you have a mute button, which is interesting and new because the headsets we currently use don't really have that. But you also have volume and then the power on the other side, which you can just hold down the power. And then I haven't quite, yep, there you go. And it's on, you know it's on because when it's blue, then it's most likely connected. There's 2 ways to mute the microphones. One of them is to flip it straight up like this. Obviously, the other way is to press the mute button. You get a sound when you do that. There's a sound that happens inside, so you know what that is. Let me get one more of these ready so that I can bring my lovely assistants. Well, one of my lovely assistants in here. So some other headsets that I have actually do not have this mute button on.
I got dude's card, so if you can get away, please do.
works on these, but it's actually kind of convenient that you don't necessarily have to flip it up and get out of your face to be able to.
Oh my god, I didn't know that. Oh my god, what an idiot.
Camera, there might be times where it is easier just to press the button very quickly instead of face. Or, sometimes putting it back down really quickly, you put it in the wrong place or you don't bring it down fast enough. But moving it back and forth all the time can be difficult. But the other side of it is that some of the other headsets that we have, sometimes the mechanism that allows us to stay in place.
I jumped off into the middle of nowhere. I'm an idiot. Craft me or some shit.
Hello, Galaxy. I'm Christopher Rillo, and this is my view in Fewer Than Two. Apple is going to be releasing their face computer at some point in the future. The Vision Pro, the Vision Pro Plus Premium, whatever it's going to be called. We know we're going to need software, and this is what they're saying now. Vision OS, the platform, the beta will include the App Store this fall. By default, iPad and iPhone apps will be published automatically on the Vision Pro App Store. I don't know how I feel about that. And here's why. It's not that I'm not looking forward to wearing a computer on my face for as long as I can. It's not that I think they're chasing wild dreams that they shouldn't be chasing. It's that anytime I have used an iPhone or let's say an iPad app on a device that it wasn't necessarily built for, it hasn't been a great experience. And when you have a not so great software experience, that translates directly into not having a great hardware experience. That's my concern with the Vision Pro. So it may launch with thousands, if not billions of apps. Maybe that's a bit egregious, but I fear that the software they're going to be promoting won't be optimized for the platform that they're developing. I understand they're caught in a, putting the cart before the horse situation, chicken or the egg, which came first. So how did they get past that?
We define a crafter.
This is one way. But another way, in my estimation, would be to double down on the experiences that are specifically built for wearing the computer contraption on your face, looking directly out of the screen, mere millimeters from your eye. That makes sense. That would make a compelling experience. I would rather have 10 well-optimized apps than 10,000 iPad and iPhone apps on a computer that you touch that.
YouTube, hello. Guys, before I start this video, I want to tell you that if I see hate in the comments of this video, I'm going to ban you from watching my YouTube channel. Today, we are giving some of our cockroaches here at Alveus a tea party because they've never had one. And I love them, and so do you. Like and subscribe. Time to set up Barbara's tea party. Maybe baked bean. Barbara and baked.
Have you seen this bird bandit? Please search for man with parrots in McDonald's.
From McDonald's, customers who say they feel bad for the feathered participants. Honestly, that's really crazy. Like, why would you bring up that? Don't cry with the birds.
True. I agree with her. Well, let's not. Okay, so let's not get rid of the theory that the birds aren't the ones controlling him, pulling the strings. Like he could be a victim in this as well.
They can talk.
God, it'd be so cool if the birds were threatening the cashier. I wouldn't even be mad if I was the cashier. Imagine the birds roll up and they just start like saying some vile shit. You hear about the guy that got arrested in Nebraska because he got with a bull in his car. Yeah, it's this video, right? He got arrested? Even my mom sent me this video. She thought it was the coolest thing ever. I didn't know he got arrested, though. I only saw like a little clip of it.
10 a.m. Norfolk Police Division responded.
What was he arrested for? Having a good time? Being a good Uber?
265 with a Watusi bull in his passenger seat.
Well, yeah. The officers.
Did you get his card at least?
I think that's fine. Oh wow, cow shit all over this.
They thought that it was going to be. They thought that it was going to be
wow.
a cow in.
I can't say I ever saw the back of the car. This thing's got a lot of features. The license plate is boy and dog, a custom license plate for that, and then a decal that says lice, and it's covered in bullshit. Wow. I mean, I have no doubt the bull was scared, but goodness. Huh. I really want to know what this says. Looks like it says concussion beef.
What an interesting guy. Yeah, it sounded like a small footprint. I thought it was just like a cool way of transporting this cow. I thought he was like a VIP or something.
That it was going to be, you know, like a cab, something smaller, something that actually fit.
What is that it said on the side? Best car?
Something smaller.
Best car citizen.
Something that actually fit inside the vehicle.
And the vehicle was big enough. Well, technically.
As a result, the officer performed a traffic stop and addressed.
He looks like a nice enough guy.
Issues that were occurring with that particular.
Oh, best car
situation. That call to leave the city.
Myers Howdy Doody are on the.
Literally told him to get out of town.
Was hurt. From Norfolk, News Channel, Nebraska, Amy Piper.
I mean, that seems like a cool battle vehicle.
Yo, I'll get a shield for you over here, buddy.
Mad Max ever happen? I think training this bull to get ready to impale other riders and shit is probably a good call. He seems like a cool guy. What was his name? Lee Meyer.
Maybe not, sorry. But you can get whatever else is there, yeah, in the
Kim
background.
Jong-un used
Something's coming out of that.
YouTube prank videos as a way to kill his brother. Kill him with what? Cringe? What?
Give me accelerant and I'll try and get another one.
I knew his brother died. I didn't know it was a
Well, there's a team here.
YouTube prank show that led to an assassination. How North Korea assassinated Kim Jong-un's brother. Let me see. There's no way this was from a prank. 2017, two unsuspecting women carried out a political assassination of Kim Jong-un, the elder half-brother of North Korean dictator Kim Jong-un, thinking they were participating in a prank TV show. Holy shit, wait, what? In 2016, 2017, two young women were separately approached by men to perform a series of prank videos for YouTube. One was from Indonesia, the other Vietnam. They were paid a small amount of money to run up to strangers and smear lotion on their faces, then apologize and run away. Kim Jong-un was in Kuala Lumpur airport when two women smeared his face with a powerful VX nerve agent. The CCTV footage of the incident shows him at the airport's information desk seeking medical help. He claims he felt dizzy after two.
How do you not know this story? Nadia.
Right?
Good morning.
So there's this line in the movie Rushmore where a soldier walking through a jungle says, "I ain't even here, Sergeant. I'm in Cheyenne, Wyoming." And that's kind of become a metaphor in our family for whenever we're really into writing or making art or whatever, because that's kind of what creative expression is to me. It's a way of escaping the body-type prison of myself and traveling to other places. Like Cheyenne, Wyoming. So yeah, full disclosure, I ain't even here right now. I'm in Cheyenne, Wyoming. Like a couple nights ago, I said in my sleep, Chapter 2 is not working. Which it's not, by the way. Oh wait, that reminds me. Remember a couple months ago when Nerdfighteria helped raise the alarm about Johnson & Johnson trying to extend the patent of their antibiotic bedaquiline? Well, the Stop TB partnership just announced that in most countries with high rates of tuberculosis, the price of bedaquiline will drop thanks to generic competition by over 50%, which is amazing news. I think ultimately what I find so fascinating about tuberculosis is that until quite recently, it was, as Charles Dickens put it, the disease that wealth never warded off. Like, for almost all of human history, kings died of tuberculosis, the richest man of the 19th century died of tuberculosis, and then rather suddenly, it became a disease that wealth almost always wards off. And so for a long time, in much of the world, we saw tuberculosis as a disease of civilization and wealth and privilege and success. And now, insofar as much of the rich world thinks about tuberculosis at all, it's seen as a disease of poverty and marginalization. And that's pretty weird. It's also a reminder that disease is not just a medical phenomenon, it's also a social one, like how we imagine diseases matters. So I've been in Cheyenne, Wyoming trying to figure out how that happened and how to tell the story of it. Like, how did we end up in a world where in the 21st century, the deadliest infectious disease is curable? That's never happened before. The 20th century's deadliest disease wasn't curable, neither was the 19th century's or the 18th centuries. You can go all the way back through the centuries. It's literally unprecedented, and trying to understand that and figure out how to tell that story is very different from, like, making up a story in my mind, but it's also not that different. Because whether I'm writing fiction or an essay or a video script or whatever, what I'm really trying to do is, like, make sense of a world that does not really lend itself to sense. And that feeling of trying to, like, piece together various things until it makes a picture that makes sense to me is very fulfilling, but I don't actually think it's what I like about writing. I think ultimately, deep down, what I love most about writing, Hank, is that it's something to think about. It's a way of visiting Cheyenne, Wyoming, escaping myself and being able to worry about something else for a while. Like at 11 p.m., when I would otherwise be going through my usual worries and mortifications, I can think about the story. I can get out of this flesh sack that is also a bacterial colony and visit Cheyenne, Wyoming. But then eventually there does come a point where I'm not really here. I'm in Cheyenne, Wyoming. And like, even when I'm dreaming of Cheyenne. And that can be a pretty intense experience, but it won't last that long. Like next week, I'm 100% sure that I won't be in Cheyenne, Wyoming all the time, because one of the things that I've been working on will be happening, but I'm not allowed to talk about that yet. I hate it when YouTubers are like, something's gonna happen, but then I can't talk about it but I actually can't talk about it. Gosh, what was the point of this video? Cheyenne, Wyoming is a metaphor, not a real place. Go to Cheyenne, Wyoming whenever you can, but don't stay there forever. Alright, that's it. I'm going back to Cheyenne, Wyoming. But one more thing, Hank. I really like your beard. I think it's great that you look different now because, like, you are different now. You're moving through a profound and difficult experience. And you're looking good doing it, man. Like, I never thought I'd say this, but I'm excited to have a brother who might be able to go full Tom Selleck. Heck, I'll see you on Friday.
Remember me, friends. I may kill you.
Oh man, what is up, peeps? Welcome back to the channel. Yes, we have a Dr. Disrespect response based on a video we covered here yesterday, guys. For full.
Cool, I've already gotten to that one, so let's go. Done. Come on, get out of the done. Done. Doctor done. Doctor's done. This one's done. That one's done. This one's done. That one's done.
Next time, try
We're good there.
Maybe not to see,
Reload
but
it
at least I
and
might
play
think
it.
twice about hitting your face.
Oh, it's right. You know, it's right in front of us.
Enough lambing around. We're dropping.
Put a shit down there and break it. You can only mean one thing. The rock. It's
I don't know. No, I quite right, you just don't know.
Next ring's not close.
You know something? Hey, hurry. Big place. Big drum. Big drum.
Listen up, the ring
Being shot at.
Darky.
Let's go here. Ring closes in 4. Look up here.
I'm spotted. Taking fire.
Lucky for you, I've got some extra supplies here.
Listen up, got another squad coming in. First blood, good thing it's not us.
Recharging me shields.
Till Sunday. Here we go.
Health drawn if you need it.
That's no what's up. They don't know who's taking. We're going to take his place. Then they call me. I can't do that. They don't even know they're in my eye. We know you were the genius of it. Come fly. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Give me my name, you know who I am. I'm so happy to come back in Florida to see all my friends.
Our hands are close together, and you can see the difference in the thickness of the fingers, the breadth of the fingers, the size of the fingernails.
I want you to take a look. What size boot is that, Andre?
It's 22. Size 22.
He was not the most articulate man in the world. He spoke in other ways.
Scenery. Yeah, just remember, tense it was.
Every scar tells a story, mate. Enemy squad's dead.
And Andre would sell anything that I did.
Ultimate accelerant here.
Great giant, ladies and gentlemen, for the benefit of you who do not know, the only undefeated superstar in professional wrestling.
And for those guys, popular tough guys in this business, Andre would straighten them out real quick.
You better get to that fucking jump pad or something.
Here's some color scene that's gonna witness here. Play cards, go. Your baby, this is for you, Elizabeth. She irritated. Yeah, instead of other things, when he came to the ring and stepped over to the rope. That's what Andre did. If you didn't respect that, Andre had no respect for you. He came out of the ring flying past me, gets all of his gear, and is coming out. I said, where are you going? What are you doing? He said, he's gonna kill me.
I'm out of light ammo.
Listen up, I'm calling a lifeline package.
There was this one time where I took him out for dinner. And of course, I grabbed the bill immediately. He looks over at me like this is I pay. And then he puts me up on a piece of furniture on moi. And it just set me up there like a little doll.
Fans, take a look at this. Can you believe that? Perhaps even, let's compare it to the size of my head. Andre,
What females would tell me, you could feel more of, wow, this is Mother Nature has done something really magnificent here.
say 20 to 25 beers, maybe 4 bottles of wine.
Andre was a big drinker after the matches. Most wrestlers would like maybe have a 6-pack. Andre, the minimum that he would ever have was 24.
No time to be tired.
Flatulence. That was his trademark. And he had a real knack for
lifting his left leg. Gonna wreck the plane, Andre. You can't fart like that in your pants. The pilots would be GDSF. Never on this plane again.
It is a condition called acromegaly, and its signs are unmistakable.
I use what the God gave me.
There used to be a 10-pound cast on this size 22 foot.
Do we have to wait? If you know the better ones. To scam. If they are, you'll be dead.
No, now, I mean it.
Anybody want to do that? I can't think of a better partner, a better person that will stand toe to toe and fight with me all the way. The big boss, Andre the Giant.
You can't stand it. This is the man for 15 years that is undefeated. But did you ever
Replicator on its way down.
Andre can't do jealous and evil.
Are you not gonna fight me up and WrestleMania 3?
Never once gave this man an opportunity. Now he's got that opportunity.
Pursuing us, Andre.
You guys just want to go down, or you want to go through that?
Right. It's okay. It's not gonna take me too long to bring back one in front of camera. With the wall, tactic, back. That's a sight to behold, just Andre on that cart going to the ring and videos that next Bobby Green. Folks, you the one to the slam and you fall back. It's exactly what I wrote it down. Shit, I'm slamming. What is like the edges you kick out? You don't do it. Had to be done to get me to where I needed to be to help Vince move this business forward. It was special.
Well, Hassan, at least they would be able to lobotomize me. You, however, I don't think they would actually find enough brain cells.
Whoa, that's his counter? Okay, that was so much better. Oh, he's so funny. That got him.
And if you don't know who this guy is, let me introduce you to him.
So, you said America deserved 9/11. What do you mean?
Yeah.
Dude, no way! He used one of my highlights! Bro! That's so good! Yesterday I covered Eggboy and his saga. He is very upset about pronouns, right? And I covered it on YouTube. But there's an update to the Eggman saga. He saw my commentary on it, and he responded to both me and the Eggman. This is shows of TikTok. I think they edited this a little bit, edited it down. A 6-minute response.
About video game. The internet goes absolutely nuclear crazy about opinion.
For the record, down for 60 minutes. Oh, he did a 60-minute response? Okay. I'll say this. I did not watch this on purpose because I wanted to cherish this moment for the first time ever with this community. So I kept myself pure and I made sure that I would start watching this exactly at the top of the hour when there's a 3-minute ad break. This is not a pronoun-free space, lad. And these bikes as well. We'll want this link open to react after. Trust me. Okay. Anyway, this guy, he's perfectly reasonable. He's perfectly fucking reasonable, right? He was just a reasonable guy. He wasn't mad at grammar. He was mad at fucking getting current day by grammar. Let's take a look at what he's saying.
On video game. Is this actually about opinion on video game? No, this has nothing to do with opinion on video game. This is everything to do with going after the far left sacred cow.
Wait, that vid that has 140k views in 5 hours lost, so is it 1 out of 10 right now? Oh, it is? Okay, hell yeah. Is he trying to do... What's going on? Is he trying to speak without using pronouns? Is that what's going on? Like, Like, I was doing it as a meme, but like, why? What is this like way of speaking that he's engaging in?
Of gender ideology. I'm not gonna treat you like you don't know what is actually going on. Towards the beginning of the game, the character creation, we were greeted with a pronoun option. So very current day of Bethesda, because it appears that...
Brother, let me say something. First of all, yeah, you describing what you're mad at doesn't change the reality that it was fucking hilarious. Okay? It was, people understood what you were mad at. They just thought it was funny because of how mad you were at a video game customization option that, like, in one way, shape, or form has existed in pretty much every single video game. Like, even if you were like, even if you got very specific, right, with your anger, and you said, I am so frustrated that they have a non-binary option instead of showing just the sex and making it so that you can only be a male or a female, people, and you got that emotional about it, people will still make fun of you. Because, one, you never get emotional on the internet. Obviously, you can't care. If you care, then you own. And two, you especially can't care about something so fucking frivolous and so stupid. Okay? That's it. That is what is funny about this. And I think everyone understands that. Everyone engaged in it, except for, like, the one chatter who was like, I'm sick and tired of you just complaining about this from the perspective of pronouns. It's about trans people, and you should say it. It's like, yeah, everyone knows that that's the case, man. Please calm down. Alright, let's keep going.
At some point during the last couple of years, Pete Hines seems to have forgotten what gender he is. Never mind. So I went on a little bit of a rant.
That's why people put their fucking pronouns in their bio. Because otherwise they forget. I'm always having to remind myself what my pronouns are, lest I forget them. You know what I mean? It's like one moment I'm he, him, next moment, you know, I might be non-binary. And that's how that works.
To my streaming audience, because I was unhappy with the fact that in every aspect of our entertainment today, we seem to be pulled out because the people creating it are more concerned with inserting...
Okay, this doesn't address anything so far. This is not addressing that people were laughing at him and he's upset that people are laughing at him. This doesn't address anything. It's just describing what we all knew and still chose to laugh at. You describing away how fucking emotional you got over a like half of a microsecond selection process that you don't even need to participate in, as a matter of fact, and it auto sorts for you. That's what people are laughing at because they know how fucking stupid that is to get mad at that. It's silly.
Current day into absolutely everything. I love nothing more than, with all of that laid out in front of me, I love nothing more than to be dragged out at every fucking conceivable opportunity so you can fucking current day us. Sorry, do you want to get immersed in our world? Yeah, well, guess what? Fucking gender for you!
It's still a banger. It's never not funny. Fucking pronouns! God, he's so good. He's so good. He has brought so much joy into my life. I hope he never stops. I want him to get this emotional about everything. Because, like, I think ultimately, if he got this mad about anything inside of a video game, it would still be funny. Like, he could get mad about shit that is valid to this degree, and it's still funny. It's like my rant about the fact that, like, there isn't a universal controller function, and that, like, every fucking controller has to have different buttons, you know what I mean? Like, that is the dumbest thing, and it's a valid complaint, and yet it's still funny how fucking mad it makes me, and I understand that, you know what I mean? Like if he got this mad about, like, DLCs, it would be a valid complaint, and yet it would still be hilarious, because, like, why are you getting this mad, homie?
Fucking current day California shit! Cause that's all we fucking know! Cause we're boring! We're so fucking boring! We can't see past our own fucking reflection. That's the level of our narcissism here. But this was tweeted out by Hassan Piker after Dan Vast had put the video out and it went a ting viral. And he said, this weird British guy, yeah, okay, fair enough. His mind over selecting pronouns in Starfield is the perfect demonstration.
Let me guess, is he gonna take it literally and he's gonna be like, this is typical of the fucking violent left, right? They want to do fucking violence to their political enemies, right? It's fucking mental. I'm assuming. Is that what's coming? It'd be pretty funny, because, like, that's what everyone does. This is the common trope online, is that, like, my enemies, and we in this community engage in that as well regularly. My enemies have never, they've never said something that is not 100% sincere. They've never embellished. They always are being 100% serious. Like, I want to strap him to a fucking medical table in an operating theater and just, like, put an ice pick through the prefrontal cortex of his fucking dome. Let's take a look.
So why we must bring back lobotomies? Well, Hassan, at least they would be able to lobotomize me. You, however, I don't think they would actually find enough brain cells.
Whoa, that's his counter? Okay, that was so much better. Oh, he's so funny. That got him. I don't even think he's saying I have a small head. He's saying I have a small brain, chat.
And if you don't know who this guy is, let me introduce you to him.
So, you said America deserved 9/11. You mean that?
Yeah.
No way, he used one of my highlights. Bro, that's so good. That's awesome. I don't even need to clarify it. I don't care that it's a meme. Check my link. He used an OK Buddy meme. I know he did. I don't care. I'm not even clarifying it. Yeah, that's the real video. It's not edited. Fuck it. He's posting my dubs, dude. I'll take it.
And that other person that he was being interviewed by was his uncle, Chen Huger. Let's see what Chen Huger has to say about certain things, shall we?
Oh god, why has he got this? Oh, this is how you know he's so old. It's like, you can tell when someone is from, like, the older Gamergate constituency or the older Gamergate contingency, because, like, they have to go after Jank. They're, like, bringing up Jank. When, like, most Zoomers have, like, no fucking clue who the hell Jank is. Like, this guy, the clip that he's using, that is, I think, out of context. I don't think he's, like, pro-bestiality, guys. The clip that he's using is from, like, 2010 or something.
Yeah,
like,
I don't care.
So the next couple months, I might be burning this entire channel down. Removing the hundreds of Fallout videos, Skyrim videos that I've made in the literal decade I've been working on this channel. Obviously, I don't want to. That's the last thing I'd ever want to do. It pains me thinking about the idea. Most of these videos honestly don't even get any views anymore, but just the thought of having to do that pains me a lot. I spent literally a third of my life making these videos. You know, I know I have MXR Plays now, and me and my girlfriend make a great living. We just react to different videos on Reddit. But MXR Mods has always been my baby, my passion. It's where I got my start on. I have so many memories making these videos. I'm sure you guys have a lot of memories watching them. They hold a special place in my heart. They don't make me any money, but, you know, it's just been there for 10 years. So yeah, this channel hasn't been monetized. I reapplied for monetization yesterday. It was demonetized initially for sexually gratifying content. I raised the channel of all of its thumbnails. It's been thumbnailless for a long time now. And it was denied for still sexually gratifying content. So my biggest problem with this is that they don't tell you what exactly you need to remove from your channel to get monetization back, right? They just kind of say, no, you're not allowed monetization. Besides saying sexual gratifying content, they don't name any videos, they don't name any thumbnails. They just, you wait 3 months, you apply, they say no. and that's it. So here I am left with, well, what do I do? If it's not thumbnails, then it's probably the videos. But then the question comes, you know, should I be deleting all of it? Is that the only way? You know, I understand I chose actually suggested mods. We've had a lot of Blue Armor mods. So yeah, I don't know, maybe I don't deserve to be paid for making these videos. I know a lot of people think that these are easy videos to make. I spend probably between 20 to 25 hours per video researching the mods, installing the mods, getting them to work properly, filming the before and afters, explaining how they work, editing. Every single one of my videos are minimum 20 hours to create. That is probably why it is so difficult for me to kind of just let go of them. And because they don't tell you exactly what needs to be removed or how much of it needs to be removed, I'm left in this position where I just have to guess. Like, I don't know. Like, do I delete one video? Do I delete 3 videos? Do I delete 5 videos? Do I delete 100 videos? What if that's not enough? What if that doesn't pass the test and I have to wait another 3 months to try again and then delete more videos? Like, I feel like it's just kind of fucked up making a creator slowly destroy his work in the hopes of being able to make a living on his videos. Every single video that I delete will be I don't know when I'm supposed to stop or how many I have to do. I potentially might leave the videos up, and then I could just direct you guys to MX Plays where I do get paid for the videos I make. I could direct you to my Patreon where people subscribe and support me financially there and get access to a large range of catalog of videos that they can't see on YouTube. I guess I'm on video here asking if there's anybody out there, if you guys can reach out to YouTube and just ask them, what do I need to do? Which videos do I need to delete? How many videos I need to delete? Because I don't know if I can bring myself physically to start going through my catalog and deleting things without any clear goal of how many or what I need to delete. Or maybe I'll just get numb to it and just delete my entire channel. I mean, that's probably the easiest way to get somebody to say yes. At the end of the day, like, I review mods and I try and be funny, even if I'm not funny. Like, that's the point of this channel, okay? I don't think there are actually people here winking off to my voice. Okay, potentially some of you are maybe turning off the audio and then winking off, but I'm pretty sure that's like an extremely small percentage here. I'm here to review mods and entertain. Like, I would just love to interact with human at YouTube. Interact with whoever is reviewing my video. Can somebody please just don't have to bring the entire channel down? Besides that, I don't know, guys. I don't know if I can do it. I'll probably just make this entire Starfield mod series if I get a single penny from it. I guess that's all I had to say. I'll see you guys next time.
People will say, well, if you get the opportunity in life to meet your hero, don't meet him or whatever. Like, I met mine. Woo! Get to induct him in the Hall of Fame. I was way more nervous about inducting Rick than I was probably anything else that entire weekend.
Ladies and gentlemen, the one and the only Nature Boy, Rick Flair!
From day one, if you don't mind, if you got time for it. Giving his speech.
I was lucky enough to have a friend like Ken Patera.
And at some point, I see somebody wave from the curtain, wave me over, and I stick my head in a gorilla position, and Vince is like, and how much longer she got? He's talking about the 70s. He's not even in the 80s yet. And Vince is like, well, we're going to get dropped dead off TV. You got to go out there and cut him off. You need to walk out on stage and tell Ric Flair to wrap up his induction speech? And he's like, yes, go right now. And I'm like, for the love of God, right? So I had to walk out there. The crowd's booing, get up like the, you got to wrap it up. He's like, okay, you know, he just keeps going. Now there's a panic of people at the building calling me over. Why didn't he tell? I did tell him. Why isn't he wrapping it up? It's his Hall of Fame speech. And like, go tell him again. Oh.
The real leader just happened to be the worst possible feeling I could have is having to tell your career get off the stage, please. Thank you so much. Woo! It was a big deal to him, and that he remembered it like the whole thing was this whirlwind to him. But oh my God, for me, it was the worst moment ever. It was like a crazy weekend. But then you can't write a better fairy tale ending.
This is a follow-up to the video I posted regarding the passing of Mean Gene Okerlund and DDP, talking about how nobody showed up. And if people are upset with the amount of people in the pro wrestling industry not showing the respect for Mean Gene by showing up paying respect, you're going to be even more upset when you hear what DDP says here. This is the day of January 2nd, 2019, when Mean Gene passed away. And take a listen to what DDP says here. And again, it's even more gut-wrenching hearing this, how emotional DDP is, and him even stating he expected a huge showing for Mean Gene, and obviously that didn't happen. In the words of DDP, take a listen.
No, and I just pick up the phone and I go, hey man. He's like, hey, Giddy, I don't know if you know this yet, but Gene Okerlund passed. Just a could pass. I was like, yes. Just, would you mind saying something about it? Just like this here, it's like, I want people to know not just that guy that they saw on TV, who was amazing, but I want them to see really amazing character and good friend he was. He enjoyed the show. He enjoyed the after party with the boys. That was a huge part of it. And there's nobody. I mean, I can't imagine what his funeral. I can't imagine everybody coming from this guy. It choked me up.
That is heartbreaking to hear DDP expecting this tremendous turnout for Mean Gene Okerlund, and that didn't happen. This is disgraceful with those in the wrestling industry. Here's obviously Mean Gene and DDP together. And again, I'm going to play that clip with James Romero for those that haven't seen it or heard it from this recent shoot interview with DDP himself, again on WSI Wrestling Shoot Interviews, again with James Romero. Again, this is for reference for those that haven't seen my previous video regarding this. Take a listen to what DDP says here. And again, this is recently, so this puts it all together in perspective when it comes to Mean Gene Okerlund and DDP and the strong friendship is. And I have so much respect for DDP and lost a lot of respect for those in the wrestling industry, such as Ric Flair, who's alive and well living in Florida. I mentioned before Hulk Hogan, Jimmy Hart, as we keep living in Florida as well, no excuse. And another one here is Kevin Nash. Your conversation with Sean Oliver talking about Mean Gene. And this is just from a few months ago, back in January, on the anniversary of Mean Gene's passing after several years. And they're having a great time here talking about Mean Gene. Take a listen and the sympathy they have for Mean Gene.
Switched to vodka because he was waiting on a liver transplant or a kidney transplant or something. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty funny as you see here. Poor Mean Gene dealing with kidney issues, has a swollen hand. And to me, not a laughing matter, but they think it's funny for whatever reason. And it should be noted, Kevin Nash also lives in Florida, didn't attend Mean Gene Okerlund's funeral. Nonetheless, let's get to this clip here, like I said, with DDP talking about how, in his words,
you need help. You don't need that. You need help.
Funeral. Take a listen.
Oh my God.
Gene Okerlund dies. I thought it was going to be a who's who of wrestlers that were going to be there. From Hogan to Flair to everybody. So everybody must have been there.
Charging battery.
Come on, compadre, get up. Come on, come on, come on. Bloody Joker over there. Thank you. It's good to have support.
Warning. Movement in progress.
Evo shield here. Level 3. Head that way. Care package over there. Let's get on that. Gonna do some looting there. We ought to go here. Evo shield here. Level 3.
Enemy spotted.
Target spotted. Copy that.
Got a live one out there. Forget that. Hostile, my marker. Hostile over there.
Well there. Lucky me.
Okay.
Safety's off. Enemy landed on me.
And other engagements, because nobody showed, except for me. Two guys from the WWE was Kevin Dunn and Kerwin. The directors. They were there. WWE was Kevin Dunn and Kerwin. The directors. They were there. Greg Gagne was there. Jim Brunzell was there. Brian Blair was there. But as far as the boys, that was it.
That is sad. Talking about the individuals that showed up and paid the respect, such as DDP mentioned, Greg Gagne from the AWA. Just a side note, take a listen to the full shoot interview with DDP talking to James Romero. And DDP mentions how he made amends with Greg Gagne because Greg Gagne didn't think DDP would make it in the wrestling industry. And they had a conversation afterwards and again made amends. And like I said earlier, the Killer Bees, Jumping Jim Brunzell and B. Brian Blair, of course, attending the funeral. And one name that was left out that attended, here you see him with DDP, is Brian Knobbs of the Nasty Boys. And I'm sure during the interview, DDP just forgot to mention Brian Knobbs. That's another individual that paid respect to Mean Gene Okerlund.
He enjoyed the show. He enjoyed the after party with the boys. You know, that was a huge part of it. There's nobody. I mean, I can't imagine what his funeral looked like. I can't imagine. This guy, it choked me up.
Introducing your champion.
This video is sponsored by Surfshark. You just can't have an international Ausstellung without a little funk. After nearly a century of the world's most funked up exhibition center, the Berlin Radio Show still brings it in the form of foldables that keep getting thinner, gaming decks that keep getting larger, and phones you can finally fix yourself. How do you from the top of the Bernseter? Well, actually from a humble Hilton hotel nearby, I'm Mr. Mobile, and these are my highs and my whys from the IFA 2023 Tech Show. The biggest move in the mobile section of the messy mess of Berlin belongs to Honor, a brand very interested in reminding everyone that it is no longer affiliated with former parent Huawei. Yeah, for all the work that Hearst does to undermine that message, stay tuned to the end, this phone really does live up to its magical name. The Honor Magic V2 is the answer to a prayer uttered by many a foldable fan. Someone, please, make a large format folding phone that feels like a regular slab when it's closed. Well, mission accomplished.
Oh, that's pretty slight there. It's so thin it's making me Midwestern for no reason. Jeez, that's.
You folks might remember how excited I was to use Xiaomi's Super Portable Mix Fold 2 last year. And at 231 grams and 9.9 millimeters when closed, the Honor Magic V2 is even thinner and even lighter. It's really impressive. To achieve that, Honor developed a new hinge with familiar components, but shrunken to fit within a much narrower titanium spine. There's also a pair of super slim silicon carbon batteries. Seriously, they're about as thick as the cardboard coaster beneath your Bitburger. And they total a rated 4,900 milliamp hours combined. That's big for any fold. The displays, too, are big, beautiful, and the inner one is minimally
Dare
creased.
I say pog?
The Magic V2 is also posable in tabletop
Is
mode.
this Twitch?
First for Honor. But interestingly, only after it's been closed for 12 hours. I'm guessing the display does some of the work of maintaining that posture instead of just the hinge cams. The cameras on their big old island back here pack some impressive specs too, though I can't speak to their performance, just like I can't speak to the software. Because the global version of this device reportedly won't be ready until the first quarter of 2024. Honestly, as undercooked as Honor's last attempt at global software was on the Magic VS, I think the company should take as much time as it needs to fully bake it this time around. You know what I don't ordinarily cover? Gaming decks. But then again, not every mobile console runs Windows 11 on a huge 8.8-inch display with Hall effect joysticks on detachable controllers that can double as a mouse. Yep, Lenovo can always be counted upon to get a little weird, and its Legion Go handheld had me thinking all kinds of naughty thoughts at my IFA sneak peek. Thoughts like, hey, this thing runs Windows. Could I just carve this a mini laptop for a day? With a wireless keyboard? With dual USB ports and the right hub, could I connect my joystick and throttle for some on-the-go flight simulator action? And if I did that, how well could that fan-cooled AMD Z1 Extreme processor hold up? And how long would the nearly 50 watt-hour battery last me if I tried these unnatural things? Probably not much longer than the 40 watt-hour battery of the Steam Deck, I'd wager. Let me know if you'd watch a weird video to go along with this weird product, and if so, I will try to fit it into the schedule. The Legion Go drops in November, starting price of $699 US. That's for a 512 gigabyte console with controllers, puck, and case included. You know what's not fair? Penalizing someone for wanting to repair their own product. I don't talk right to repair very often because, frankly, I think it would be a little hypocritical, or at least, performatively disingenuous for a guy who relies on fresh new products every week to do so. Nevertheless, as you all remind me each time I do a John Deere trip, yes, you have been heard, it is important. And Dutch company Fairphone was on hand at IFA to show how well it walks the sustainability talk. The Fairphone 5 is designed to be the world's most repairable mobile device. Its components are held together by clips or screws, with none of the glue that typically foils attempts to fix. Several times, I watched the Fairphone folks field strip the Phone 5 in less than 5 minutes at their booth. The modular design is clever. It means if you, for example, break a camera lens, you can just buy a new module for Fairphone and only replace that component instead of, buying a whole new phone. Same goes for the speaker, microphone, display, or the 4,200 mAh battery, which prompted pleasant memories of user-replaceable power packs from the days of smartphone past. In future. Speaking of the future, Fairphone promises platform updates for this phone up to Android 18 and security updates through the year 2031. Check back with me on my 48th birthday. There's a lot of compromise on the other side of all this, of course. I don't need to test these cameras to predict that they will probably underwhelm. There's no headphone jack, which matters more on a sustainable smartphone than others, and with the exception of the translucent option, there's nothing memorable about these aesthetics. But, it's not made to stand out. It's made to be a competent smartphone without hurting the planet. While I can't speak to all the pledges about e-waste neutrality, I do love the fact that Fairphone gives the phone's builders a living wage bonus per handset sold, and it conducts audits of its manufacturing partner to make sure the people building it aren't overworked. These claims deserve more rigorous verification than a YouTuber talking with Fairphone for 5 minutes at a trade show, but over the course of the company's 10-year history, I've never gotten the impression that its intentions were anything other than genuine. I hope the Fairphone 5 comes to the US at some point. For now, it's available in Europe for €699. Okay, let's put the curry on this verse with some IFA odds. Accessory legend Anchor was on
Keep
hand
moving, let's fucking get out of here.
Chargers. You might remember G2 from CES back in January.
No sense in staying for that fight. Way ways.
Also at IFA. that will
Oh,
finally bring
congratulations.
magnetic charging to Android phones.
Thanks,
For those of us outside the Apple
You're
ecosystem
so
can
hard.
finally enjoy the magic of a MagSafe style charger. Sadly, we will still be limited to 15 watts, but nothing about the wireless charging story in the West has ever been fast. We're expecting the first Qi2-enabled phones to hit the market this fall. Back to foldables for the penultimate product. No, not from Techno. The company was on site at IFA, but its upcoming flip phone, sadly, was not. This is a mock-up from the last company I expect to be feeling flexible. Ulefone. 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 It's known mainly for the kind of mobiles you can dunk, dust up, double dip, and even dance on. Rugged radios for rough and tumble talkers. The company's first flip phone won't be as durable as all that, and I'm disappointed to see that from most angles it doesn't really stand out, at least not in the clamshell space whose style has quickly become homogenized. But it will have a 108 megapixel camera, if this placeholder text is to be believed, and a circular cover screen, which I think is kind of neat. The Ulefone X Flip is expected next year. And to close the circle on this video, earned honor. What can I do but clutch my pearls? There's a reason this Honor V purse might look familiar. Flash back a few years and you might remember Honor's former parent company, Huawei's bleeding-edge bet that outward-folding foldables might become a thing, the Mate X family of foldables. And look, I'm not saying that the purse is identical to that older phone, because from what I've heard, the processor and cameras have been swapped out for lower-cost components. And of course, there's this new carrying accessory to give it its honorable new name. Now, this is technically a concept, but I've heard from a reliable source that the phone will actually go on sale in China at an equivalent US price of around $850, which would make it not just the weirdest, but also one of the most affordable foldables around. You just got to be prepared to scratch it within 20 minutes of unboxing it, like I did 3 years ago. In my view, Audi foldables are still not a good idea. A view supported by my Pixel Fold, by the way, which I dropped to the street off a moving scooter during a Burgermeister run, and then the next day dropped to the tile in a German cafe. But because it's an innie with its screen safely ensconced within, well, my Pixel Fold is just fine. There's a lesson in that.
No, there's not.
After a 4-year break from Berlin, I cherished the opportunity to return to IFA, chasing down gadgets and scooting the streets in search of 4 a.m. K's abroad with some of my best friends. As in years past, I extend a big thanks to IFA itself for providing travel and lodging so I could cover the event. Oh, and even also, for the first time in 11 years of tech trade shows, I had the opportunity to take the stage at IFA 2023 as Michael Fisher, Gadget Nerd, talking about the future of technology alongside some accomplished and insightful industry insiders. I'm already stoked to return to the book term for 2024. If you're tired of hearing about Surfshark, I get it. After all, the company's been my sponsor for 4 years. But if you think about it, that's a good thing. It means Surfshark has done its job of keeping me and its customers safe while browsing the web all over the world. You also might have noticed that I haven't taken a sponsorship from any other VPN company since I started. And that's not because I can't. It's because I haven't felt the need to use anyone but Surfshark. In addition to securing my connection on Wi-Fi networks all around the world, it also guarantees I can still access media and services that might otherwise be restricted by the country I'm browsing from. If that sounds useful to you, hit Surfshark at the link in the description and use code MrMobile for 83% off and 3 extra months free. Thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. This video was produced following 5 days at IFA 2023 in Berlin, with Mr. Mobile's travel and lodging provided by IFA Management. In addition, IFA paid an appearance fee for my panel session at the show. However, as always, none of the companies featured in this video had any oversight or editorial input into this content, nor an early preview of same. Until next time, from Michael Fisher, thanks for watching. Und bleibt mobil, meine Freunde.
Hello, Galaxy. I'm Christopher Rillo, and this is my view in fewer than two. Apple is going to be releasing their face computer at some point in the future. The Vision Pro, the Vision Pro Plus Premium, whatever it's going to be called. We know we're going to need software. And this is what they're saying now. Vision OS, the platform, the beta will include the App Store this fall, and by default, iPad and iPhone apps will be published automatically on the Vision Pro App Store. I don't know how I feel about that. And here's why. It's not that I'm not looking forward to wearing a computer on my face for as long as I can. It's not that I think they're chasing wild dreams that they shouldn't be chasing. It's that anytime I have used an iPhone or let's say an iPad app on a device that it wasn't necessarily built for, it hasn't been a great experience. And when you have a not so great software experience, that translates directly into not having a great hardware experience. That's my concern with the Vision Pro. So it may launch with thousands, if not billions, of apps. Maybe that's a bit egregious. But I fear that the software they're going to be promoting won't be optimized for the platform that they're developing. I understand they're caught in a, putting the cart before the horse situation, chicken or the egg, which came first. So how do they get past that? This is one way. But another way, in my estimation, would be to double down on the experiences that are specifically built for wearing the computer contraption on your face, looking directly out of the screen, mere millimeters from your eye. That makes sense. That would make a compelling experience. I would rather have 10 well-optimized apps than 10,000 iPad and iPhone apps on a computer that you have strapped to your face.
YouTube, hello. Guys, before I start this video, I want to tell you that if I see hate in the comments of this video, I'm going to ban you from watching my YouTube channel. Today, we are giving some of our cockroaches here at Alveus a tea party because they've never had one. And I love them, and so do you. Like and subscribe. Time to set up Barbara's tea party. Maybe Baked Bean. Barbara and Baked Bean, our Madagascar hissing cockroaches, eat a variety of snacks, so we're going to prepare some for them. If you watch my streams, you know that I'm obsessed with bugs. They're fun to hold. Look at them! Yeah! They're so nice! Hi! Does anyone want to hold one? I love them so much, and I hope that you like them more. You don't have to love cockroaches, okay? I know that's kind of a tall order, because a lot of people don't like them. But hopefully by the end of this video, you will like them more than you did before. All I'm asking, you need to keep an open mind. First of all, we're going to make them some snacks. I have a nice variety for our roaches today. Yellow squash, I think. The roaches have never had a picnic before. Will they eat on a picnic table? We will find out live. I have no idea. But if they don't, then they're still going on an adventure, and that's what matters. I want to make these into fun shapes. I want to make it into a heart because I love them. Craftsmanship. For those of you who aren't familiar, I keep saying Barbara and Baked Bean. We have Madagascar hissing cockroaches. It's one of the largest cockroaches in the world. They're large. The males are named Baked Bean, and the females are named Barbara. So that's why I keep saying those names. We originally got 7 shipments from one educational colony to another educational colony, which was very cool. But as some of you may know, in your maybe not so positive experience of cockroaches, they're prolific. And so we started with 7, and now we have several hundred. It's my dream. I want to set up the picnic before we bring them out because I want it to be beautiful and set up and perfect before they see it. Alright, time to set up. It's so cute. I'm so excited. It's time to set up. This is their picnic table. These are my supplies. Okay, I have some fake food, but I also have some real food, and it's time to make a whole spread. I don't really know what, actually. I don't really know what the plan is right now, if I'm being honest. Definitely 2 plates because there are 2 of them. Honestly, no, we'll give them several chicken options. Cockroaches eat a variety of foods. Okay, guys, they'll eat everything. And so we're going to give them a variety because they'll be happy. One of them is drinking wine and one of them is drinking a soda. And we'll give them their hearts. Wait, it's like they're on a date? They're in love. That is really cute. I'm really excited. A little fast kid. Wait, that looks really good. The middle looks good. Time for silverware. One gets a fork, one gets a spoon, but you know, rate it 1 to 10.
Okay.
Found my candle. This is the spread. Time to get our roaches and show them their beautiful picnic. Come with me. I've collected 2 very special, lucky roaches to go on a date today. Their names are Barbara and Barbara. And they're already making small talk. That's very good. These are Madagascar hissing cockroaches. Okay, like I said, it is one of the largest roaches in the world. They're called hissing cockroaches because they can expel air and make like a sound if they're scared. But they're pretty chill, so they're not doing that, which is very nice. Are you guys ready? I'm really excited about it. Are you excited about it? Yes or no? Oh, I don't know if she would recognize that there's a table. They've never sat in a chair before. Madam, for you? Well, they'll find their way up there. Don't worry. It's not the best etiquette I've ever seen. If you're on a first date, don't go underneath the chair. Not usually the people are looking for. They're just working it out. They're just a little shy. A little scared. They're both hiding under the chairs. Let me get stand by. I'm gonna help them out. I'll show you to your meal. Okay, you sit there. We're gonna switch chairs. That's fine. That's fine. Switching chairs is fine on your first date. She's refusing to participate. Look, I made this for you. You see? What is that? Oh my god. Okay. No, don't go. Okay. You know what? She wants to hide under the table.
Watch those.
She's gonna hide under the table. Okay. Some of you are probably wondering, Maya, what happened to you? Or why are you doing this? And are you okay? The answer is absolutely yes. I do videos like this for the other animals that I'll get because I love them dearly. I am not exaggerating when I say that I love these bugs as much as I love the other animals here. A lot of people see roaches and they think of dirty places and they think yuck because they're like, roaches are dirty, roaches are gross. The reason that roaches are at the site of dirty locations is the same reason that firefighters are at the site of a fire. It is not because they set the fire, it's because they're there to put it out, clean it up. Roaches are detritivores, okay? They break down things in soil so that we can use that soil to grow new things. They're vital for our planet. So next time you see a roach, it'd be very cool if you didn't think about it as like, they're making my house dirty, and we're like, they're just here because they want to clean it up. That being said, I'm not saying you have to cohabit with roaches. They can obviously carry bacteria that's really dangerous for us, but in general, I really wish the attitude would change about how we do bugs because they're so important. We would die without them, 100%. We would die so fast if bugs did not exist or cease to exist. They just get the worst rep ever. These ones are harmless, and they're just really good at cleaning stuff up, and they eat lots of foods, and they're just trying their best. So that's how I feel about roaches. And this one's still really shy. They're really good at climbing. Oh, here she comes. There we go. Oh, okay. Well, table's a little small. Is she gonna eat? I made it for you. I don't think she likes it. In fairness, I was really sure. Picnic, I've never done it before. No, what's gonna happen? Somebody's leaving the table. There's pear and sweet potato. We like those things. And it's a picnic for you. What is that? Yum. She said no. Our ladies aren't really feeling the date, and I'm gonna get 2 other candidates and see if they have a better time. I have 2 fresh new candidates looking for love. This is Barbara, and this is Barbara. Welcome to your picnic date. There's a pear and a sweet potato. Also,
Hello everyone, this is Yorn, doing this I'm around.
Wee!
Hello, Emily, how are you doing?
Yeah, I want to see you. Yeah. I didn't get to see most of what she said. Dude, he looks like he's played. What's that fucking dinosaur game that everyone played for like 1 week? It looks like that game. Yeah, the aisle. He looks like he's in the aisle.
Being a tree. Need to go away.
I'm hitting a tree. Need to go away.
I'm the tree. The tree is there.
Yo, Logan. Yo, what's up? Oh my God, what time was that at? A long time ago.
Wait, was that his voice?
How's that NMP? Was that a good NMP?
What?
Big package.
I'm thinking like maybe some bats or something are gonna fly out of this spot. Why did that look like Dad? Is that him? Or should it look like Dad feeling?
How do I get a fucking alert?
How old is Dad? Does that make sense that that could be him? Wait, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. No way. Why is that so cute?
I just want a fucking alert, bro.
Doesn't matter. Ready? This is on in person. Talk to me.
Good time. Did you blur me that shit?
Dude, this person keeps messaging me non-stop. Sonic, for the mistakes are actually so fucking annoying the way you speak and talk. I get this shit all the time, and it's so annoying that I have to deal with this stuff. No one else.
You know who else this sounds like? Specco does this too. He's not complaining about weirdos, but like, going on some tangent. It's so funny. I love it.
That's our.
Dude, that mattress. I just can't look at this mattress. I'll write it down. Great job, Nick. You're doing amazing. Okay, wait. Booty crack. Booty crack check. Okay. Oh, one second, sir. Sorry. My grandpa is like, he tickled it. Great job. What was he gonna say? Hey, you wanna play together like friends?
Why are you wording it like that? What the fuck? Yeah,
What
we
do
can
you
do
mean?
more. Yeah, I'm down for you.
Okay. Wait, I'll go next.
Stop.
Why was that zombie walking
You gotta
like you're
stop what you're doing
pregnant?
right
It's different when I'm working, okay? It's like, this is the bird talking to him. Yeah, that's the bird. Basically, that grease me, so just please throw the pop. Please. Please.
Yeah. Yeah, my name is Soda, and I love pop. Wait, no. I love popping. Sure. I'm Soda Poppin'.
Yeah, I think his birds are so cute.
How? Baby.
Do they just girl?
I know, but like we're.
total control. Capture all zones to score.
So I don't know that many detailed view.
Ready? I've never seen it then. What?
I want to go to a party.
Go to a party instead of that.
Yeah, really. Bro, nobody's gonna let you play Tetris at a party.
Wait, how do you shut it? What parties the people play Tetris at?
You play Tetris there for the around.
Wait, I know what he's talking. No, there was actually one party at this house where people were playing Tetris on the Switch in the living room, and I was one of the people playing. And I think it's the one.
Oh, take me to A. Take me to A. Take me down to the paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Oh, won't you please take me home? Yeah, yeah. I got a double kill. Where's my driver doing? Driver, another double kill. Keep me moving, driver. Killing spree, let's go, driver. Keep going, driver.
And what?
What you doing? You're not moving. There we go. Keep it moving, brother. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. All around, all around. You gotta move, 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 move.
Talking to me about how unhinged and mentally it's not that serious.
Bro, I'm gonna die.
To receive one. It's not that bad. It's really not that serious.
So bad.
Keep me moving, bro. Oh, you didn't keep me moving.
I thought you could McDonald's. No, American. American.
What's the matter?
Your team has total control. You've got new zones incoming.
My way, out of my way. I'm about to soil my pants because my bowels are about as useful as my head. These men stole me off the side of the road.
Dude, I can never. It stresses me out so much watching people on TTS and Paul.
Rickroll? Do you know Rickroll?
Your team is close to total control.
That's freaking impressive. Never gonna keep you calm. Never gonna let
Smoked you,
go.
bitch.
I know.
still hasn't, never gonna give you up on who you are. And I probably won't. Probably.
2 things are true about the next 30 days. 1, you're gonna have your period. And 2, you're gonna get a new iPhone. Listen, this is my first day back. I don't know what I'm saying. We have a report that basically confirms all of the new goodies that you should be expecting when it comes to iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Pro. But we also have some information that could be classified as not that. Goodies that aren't goodies, really, because it's more like bad news, so we'll call them baddies. Getting right into it, and we're about to go so fast, it'll make your face go like this. That's so fast. So
oh, look at me on the top!
The goodies, they come from Mark Gurman's Power.
I'm on the top, baby. I'm on the top.
Rundown of all the things that he said, and basically whatever I'm about to say is like it actually happened. Okay, pretty much confirmed. USB-C for sure on all of the new iPhones with a speedier version for data transfers on the Pro line.
Got it.
Island, falling down to the poor people models. That's right. Every new iPhone, even the base models, iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus, no more notch. The new design for iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max will be kind of smoother, more rounded with titanium edges instead of the stupid old stainless steel, which at first always looks great, but by the end of it just sort of looks like you've been spending the whole year scrubbing your dishes with it. So, oh yeah, and that frosted sort of matte glass is on the back of all the Pro iPhones and has been for the last few years. Yep, that's going down too, to the regular models. So all 4 iPhones will feature the same matte frosted glass. We're getting new chips inside all these phones too. Haven't really looked too far into it, done the research really, but I think it's flaming hot this year. And some camera upgrades with better optical zoom on the iPhone 15 Pro Max Big Boy. Yay, periscope camera, mini zoom, gonna see the moon. And yeah, a lot of this information has been floating out there for the last few months on the interwebs, but this is the first time Gurman is like making a list and saying, these are all the things I expect. And if he's making a list, that's what we're getting. Now let's get us some vanities. You know. It's a tech show. The price. Yeah, so just like your rent every year, it go up. Mark says that he expects price increases sort of across the board outside of the US, and then potentially inside of the US for the Pro and Pro Max models. A lot of rumors are saying like $100 to $200 more, which is like, damn it. But hey, man, that's life. You know, sometimes you just want to drown yourself in a bathtub. Huh? Moving further on down into the road of bad, we have a report from Huaming Chi that adds a bit of concern onto the back of iPhone 15 season, and that's a predicted lack of demand. And while we sort of kind of hear this every year, and every year we're just like, yeah, okay. There might be you see, new features, a new-ish design, some camera stuff, and the flaming hot chips. We're also getting stuff that seems good on paper, but could actually just be a big pain in the ass, like USB-C. And I know you're like, how is that in any universe ever a bad thing? Until you think about it. Because, yeah, a bunch of nerds, people like us, we've been wanting and waiting for Apple to make the jump away from Lightning forever now. But long-time regular Apple fans and regular iPhone users have so many Lightning cables and accessories that jumping to USB-C right away might just kind of not be fun. Especially when the USB-C cables that you have at home already that might have been totally fine with your other USB-C accessories might not work properly on your new iPhone because of MFI requirements. New stuff coming to the iPhone, new materials coming to the iPhone that are more expensive to make. Yeah, it makes total sense that the price might be going up this year, but also what makes total sense is if you just consider that everything else is right now too. Have you tried to buy a bag of chips? It's like $6 for the small one. $6. Why? So this makes a Jaren think that maybe, just maybe, we have ourselves a potato in the carrot patch. Know what I'm saying? Know what I'm saying? I literally just made that up. Anyway, so are you gonna upgrade? It's gonna be more monies. Are you gonna spend more monies this year for the iPhone? Are ya? What you think about that I am going to make more monies right now so I can buy it. Hey guys, here's the thing. So the post office and UPS, definitely necessary and cool. But going into any of those places and waiting in line, that's why I use our friends over at Stamps.com. Stamps gives you access to all of the post office and UPS shipping services right from your own computer. It saves you a trip, it saves you time, but more importantly, it saves you money. Like a lot of money. I'm serious too. Thanks to partnerships
Bro, I didn't have any more
with
fucking ammo.
and UPS themselves, Stamps.com is able to give you discounts of up to 84%.
Let's turn our flag. Where's our
That is
flag?
basically free. Whether you are an office sending out invoices, a side hustle Etsy shop, or a full-blown warehouse shipping out a bunch of orders, Stamps.com will make your life easier. All you need is a computer and a standard printer. No other special supplies or equipment. So what are you doing? Stop overpaying so always and stop leaving your house. Sign up today at stamps.com/FPT and get yourself a 4-week free trial, free postage, and they'll even send you a free digital scale. And of course, a huge thanks to our friends over at stamps.com for being one of our longest running sponsors and supporting this episode. Alright, welcome back. So last up of the day, story numero last up. I'm getting tingly. I can feel the tingles in my jingles. We have word from everybody's favorite seafood leaker person, Shrimp Apple Pro. And that word, actually a few words, is that Apple is hard at work on the 7th generation iPad mini. This is, okay, Shrimp, Shrimp buddy, my good, smelly seafood friend. Don't you dare. Don't play with me. Do not. I know that I come off as funny, goofy guy on Tech News Show that isn't real, kinda. But I tell you what, I will eat you. I've been known to eat a few shrimp in my day. I will put you away like they put away JFK. In a series of tweets with some other stuff that I don't really care about because it's not iPad mini related. Shrimp ends with, I'm seeing at least one new iPad coming, probably Mini 7. We'll reserve that for the next post. I said probably means for sure. Like I probably don't have pants on right now. I got my lotion and my candles. I am ready. Listen, the iPad mini is just, it's the best. It's the greatest iPad that has ever iPaded. And there's nothing that anybody can say, Sam, to convince me otherwise. Don't even try. I will destroy you with facts and logic. Shrimp is our dude. He's pretty dang accurate. I'm going to go full speed ahead on believing this completely.
Why the fuck did it take me 7 fucking jumps to get up there, you bitch?
You're a gentleman and a scholar. Tim Cook, friend, buddy, listen to me. If a new iPad mini is not coming out, I will run a bath. Nice warm bath. And I will get in the bath with my clothes on. Don't even gotta take them off. And I will put my head under the water and leave it there until can't say it.
Who the fuck are you guys? You just let 3 of them come after me? All 4 of them on their base with the flag.
But
Now they're gonna go get you
I
guys.
just turned 30 years old this past weekend. I'm basically at the end anyway. Anyway, back to iPad mini. Guys, it is time. We haven't had a new iPad mini in checking my watch long time. And there's enough other Apple stuff coming out anyway. Come on! Give it to Daddy! Give Daddy what he wants!
Oh, they scored.
I'll just be waiting your turn. You know what's at stake. Don't me!
Xbox fans are debating whether Microsoft should keep its commitment to launching every game on Series X and the lower-powered Series S simultaneously.
A relatable situation for anyone whose mom forced them to bring their little brother along to Stacy's party, even though it was so embarrassing. I'm Riley Murdoch, this is GameLink, and this is a Larian Studios dev.